Welcome in to Skap After Dark. Welcome into the lounge. Welcome in to the aftermath of Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't really even know what to say about this game at this point, about this series, about the perpetual and continual, pitiful and pathetic efforts of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just absolutely a laughable, abysmal, and disgraceful effort by them. Another game in which they clearly were not prepared to play this game. Obviously underprepared, ill-equipped. The alleged coach of the year last year, Mark Daigneault, another just baffling game plan by him, I guess. I don't know really what else to say about this. I suppose I'm not surprised by the fact that this now goes to 7, the second time in 4 series in this postseason that this historical entity that was the Oklahoma City Thunder coming into this postseason, the prohibitive favorites really to win the championship through most of the season, the only team, the one and only team that was remotely in the vicinity in terms of, the odds throughout the entirety of the season were the Boston Celtics. Actually, the Boston Celtics opened the regular season as the betting favorites. Oklahoma City overtook them pretty early on into the NBA season, and they have been a minor favorite over the Boston Celtics all season long, including into the postseason. But if you look at the team with the next best odds after the Boston Celtics, a precipitous and cavernous void between any other team in Oklahoma City other than the Boston Celtics. It's not even close. And the team that was the next closest other than Boston to Oklahoma City was the Cleveland Cavaliers. So neither Boston nor Cleveland got through the second round of the postseason. So from that point on, Oklahoma City has been a substantial betting favorite. They opened this series at minus 750, historical. It was the 6th biggest odds favorite since to begin a final series since 1968. So the other 5 teams before them easily won their championships those 5 seasons. They dwindled to minus 250 when they dropped to 2-1 in this series. Then when they went up 3-2, they bounced back to minus 550. These are historically lopsided odds because Oklahoma City is just that much more talented. Oklahoma City has been favored in every single game by like a lot in this entire postseason run now. The 2 lowest points that they were favored by in any single game in this postseason, I believe it was game 6 of the Denver series where they were minus 5.5, and they lost that one by double digits. And then tonight where they were only minus 5.5, and they got their doors absolutely blown off tonight. Just an embarrassing, humiliating effort yet again for everyone in an Oklahoma City jersey. For Mark Daigneault, I feel like a broken record on here, coming on here and insulting a humiliating performance by all of the Thunder players and coaches. I will not get as worked up as I have been in recent live renditions in the lounge here following a abysmal Oklahoma City Thunder performance. Suffice it to say, though, I am disgusted, as I typically am, when they come out and humiliate themselves like they did yet again tonight. I get some pushback from people in here in the comment section in the aftermath whenever I go on a rant or whenever I discredit Oklahoma City or don't give Indiana enough credit. And see, here's the thing. I'm not backing off of that. Like this series, just like the Denver series, where we're at is a total and 100% referendum on Oklahoma City, the pathetic nature of their play to this point. And I think Mark Daigneault plays a substantial part in that equation. Obviously, this is a younger team, but they are so much better than Indiana. I mean, they are so much better than the second best team in the NBA. Maybe not. Maybe the advantage wasn't that extreme over the Boston Celtics, but taking the Celtics out of the equation, who had a historical year in their own right last year and won the championship, the discrepancy of talent for every other team league-wide versus Oklahoma City other than Boston is extreme. So that's every team. The Pacers aren't even close to the second best team in the NBA. And they've now taken the Oklahoma City Thunder to a 7th and decisive game in the NBA Finals round. Look, they did it with Denver. They mucked around with that series. They allowed Denver to stay way closer throughout it than they should have, than they had any business doing. And it cost them in the fact that they got into a game 7 with them. And then ultimately the talent just, overtook the Denver Nuggets. Now, what exactly is going to happen on Sunday night is still anyone's guess. I would anticipate the same exact thing. The script will play out the same exact way as we saw in that Denver series. But who knows? In a one-game situation, in a game 7, the best combination of words in the history of the English language, game and 7. Anything is possible. As Kevin Garnett once famously said, I believe after the 2008 NBA championship, anything is possible. We don't know simply what to expect, but if past precedent can lead the way for us in what our expectations should be for that game 7, well, all time in NBA history, home teams win game 7s somewhere around 81% of the time. Really, the only hope for a road team is to have a significantly better player on that team. So the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder are a substantially better team than the Indiana Pacers from 1 through 10, the fact that they have this year's league MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the fact that they are at home, well, that should lead us all to anticipate that indeed, while it's taken 6 more games in this postseason than it realistically should have, it is all but a formality. The Oklahoma City Thunder will be NBA champions after about a 2.5-hour game on Sunday, where we should anticipate finally, at long last, a full 48-minute performance out of them in this NBA Finals series, because quite frankly, we haven't seen it yet to this point. They've had moments in this series where they've played to their potential, but really they have not put together one full 48-minute game yet to this point. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, quite frankly, didn't even play all that great tonight. They mitigated their turnovers. I believe they had one turnover midway through the second quarter. It was actually the Oklahoma City Thunder who turned the ball over a bunch tonight. They had 21 turnovers. So to me, that was a big storyline in this game, and really in this series, is the Pacers either mitigating their turnovers or playing into the Thunder's game plan in not protecting the ball. Tonight, they did protect the ball. They end the game with just 10 turnovers, and they were in single dig in that column for much of the game. The Thunder, meanwhile, with 21 turnovers, which is a crazy number for them. And they were actually led in that category by, league MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 8 turnovers tonight on the game, 8 turnovers and only 2 assists. So an 8-2, turnover to assist ratio for him. He had 21 points on 7 of 15 shooting. Look, he didn't play a good game tonight. Nobody on the Oklahoma City Thunder did. I'm not trying to say that he had an abundance of support tonight. Again, nobody. Jalen Williams, 16 points on 6 of 13 from him. And that's really it. The only other starter in double digits was Isaiah Hartenstein, actually, who had 10 points in, again, only 16 minutes. Again, I continue to be baffled with the substitution patterns and what Daigneault is doing with Isaiah Hartenstein. The bench ends with a bunch of points, including Isaiah. Joe had 11, but basically when this game was being decided, the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder had only 3 total points off of it through, three quarters plus, heavy minutes into the third quarter. They had only 3 points off of the bench, whereas the Indiana Pacers, again, get a number of good bench performances, led by Obi Toppin tonight, 20 points from him. and double digit again, back-to-back games for TJ McConnell, Pittsburgh's own. I'm from Pittsburgh. TJ's from Pittsburgh. Shout out TJ for another stellar game from him. 12 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 6 assists, and 4 steals from Pittsburgh's own TJ McConnell. Other than that, just a balanced game, really. In fact, Obi Toppin led the Indiana Pacers in scoring tonight off the bench, 20 points in 23 minutes. The leading scorer from a starter standpoint tonight was Andrew Nembhard, who had 17 points. Now, the other big story coming into tonight's game, obviously, was the availability and the injury status of Tyrese Haliburton. Much was made last game that, Rick Carlisle had lost the series, let the series slip away, made a mistake in playing Tyrese Haliburton because he was too injured to be effective. Many pundits suggesting that he should have rode the hot hand in TJ McConnell last game, kept Tyrese Haliburton on the bench throughout the fourth quarter. And obviously that criticisms have been ongoing for, roughly the last 48 hours. All the while, the availability and the actual injury diagnosis of Haliburton hung in the balance. It has leaked out. Look, we don't know the exact severity of it or whatnot, but he officially has been diagnosed with a calf strain, which is anywhere between, depending on the severity or the grade level, anywhere between a 1 to 3 week injury or, like a 3 to 5 week injury, maybe a couple month injury time for a total repair of that, but depending on which one of the 3 levels of strain it is, that information really hasn't been put out. But what we do know is this: the lowest level of strain would be 1 to 3 week recovery. He had 2 days off. So what we know definitively is he was not 100%. And tonight he was not going to be 100%. Yet he said after the game last game that if he could walk, basically he would play. Again, he took criticisms for that as well. People thought that maybe he was hurting the team in some way. He was fantastic tonight. The final line, not really indicative of how well he played and how crucial he was in making winning plays. He ends the night 14 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 5 assists. But look, he led the entire team in the plus minus column tonight, plus 25. And really, look, this game was decided in the first half, and Haliburton kind of led the way in the first half. I thought he set the tone. He just showed basically his teammates, the assembled fan base on hand that he was okay. Kind of, I think, just like a sigh of relief to see him out there, see him moving fairly effectively. Just kind of set the tone early on, and he played strongly early on. And the Pacers came out and essentially ended this game by halftime. It was a 22-point advantage for the Indiana Pacers at the end of the first half. The final score, nowhere near indicative of how big of a beating this was by the Indiana Pacers. The final 108-91. That, though, following a 31-18 fourth quarter by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look, don't get it twisted. This game was over after the third quarter. I, again, think it was over at halftime, but it was definitively on ice after the third. 90-60 was the score at the end of the third quarter, which is why, again, I say absolutely thoroughly nauseating, disgusting, and reprehensible performance yet again by the smug, overly confident Oklahoma City Thunder team that think, and they probably are going to be right, they could just sleepwalk their way to an NBA championship. Just an absolute systematic no-show tonight. I don't care what your take is. Honestly, I really don't. Like, if you think that I'm not giving the Pacers enough credit, or that this team that was the 13th rated SRS regular season team that has essentially not been favored in any single series they played all postseason long, that has been significant underdogs at every stage of this finals. If you think that maybe me and the entire betting world is not giving them enough credit, whatever. Like, you're entitled to your opinion. Please have at it with that. I disagree unequivocally with you on that. I think this is all about the Oklahoma City Thunder. But even if, let's say Las Vegas, anybody else who's been touting this Thunder team for as long as I have been, let's say we've just been overly confident with the Thunder that we're just completely overlooking the Indiana Pacers. This Pacers team ain't 30 points better than the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're just not. So to be able to find themselves down by 30 through 3 quarters, it is a disgraceful and reprehensible performance by every single player in that uniform, in that locker room, by the head coach, by all of the assistants. It's a disgusting performance by them to perpetually find themselves in this situation. Now, again, their second series now will go 7 games. It's almost unimaginable that a team this dominant, that is playing this relatively weak of a field, is going to lose. Oh my God. I mean, at least they've lost now 6, 7. They've lost it's going to be at least 7 losses if they somehow complete this monumental and historic gag job, which again, I don't think that they will, but if they do, that would be 8 losses in the postseason. That's unbelievable to try to wrap my head around them with the field that they faced. I honestly, I cannot believe what I'm seeing from them. But look, kudos to the Indiana Pacers for just a continued, sustained, excellent team-wide performance. Again, Obi Toppin leads the way, 20 points off the bench in 23 minutes. The leading scorer from a starter standpoint, 17 from Nembhard again. And just to finish the point, to close the loop here on this Oklahoma City Thunder performance tonight, again, nobody showed up. Nobody played well. I guess you could say it's unfair to critique Shai Gilgeous-Alexander overly harshly here when literally not one single teammate showed up either. But damn it, you're the league MVP. And you do have, I think Jalen Williams was one of like 4 players in the last like 35 years to have 25 points or more in 3 straight finals games in his first finals appearance. And the number or the people that join him on that list are crazy. It's like Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal. I'm trying to think of who the other, there's like 2 other players. I'll look it up. I saved the screenshot because it was so intriguing to me. But that's what Jalen Williams has been doing. Obviously, again, did not play well tonight. But look, this team is historic. This whole season was a commentary on the team. Yet, despite the fact Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had the best team all season, he's the one that gets the accolades. He's the one that gets praised and anointed the next one. He's the one that steals Nikola Jokic's league MVP. So now he's the one that's going to have to take on the bulk of the criticisms that will follow if they do not finish this off at home. And I don't even know what the line is. We'll check that out a little bit later. I would guess it's like 10 points at least. But SGA, not good again tonight. 21 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 8 turnovers, and 2 assists. And again, he's not playing a defensive juggernaut in the Indiana Pacers. He's playing like a mid-tier defensive team all season long. I believe they were 16th in total net rating defensively this year. So that is who you're playing, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy who led the league in scoring, who's averaged over 30 points per game throughout this postseason run as well. Come out and set the tone, establish the tone early on, score whatever, 15, 17 points in the first quarter. Make a statement, like drag your teams, get them into it the way an MVP is expected to do, especially when you have the counterparts that he does have surrounding him. So look, this is going to be really a scathing commentary, I think, on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and on Mark Dagnall primarily, if they don't go on to win Game 7 at home. Again, I'll check the line there. I'm guessing it will be, probably maybe not 10, but 9.5 would be my estimation is what it's going to open at. And it just looks like more disinterested, just unengaged Oklahoma City Thunder, bad Thunder throughout this game, really just to start the game. Looks like they didn't even show up when they were, had an injured Haliburton to boot. So just more. But look, I don't have the energy to go on the rant that I have in the past because, quite frankly, damn it, they've beaten me down. I'm now used to it. Like I'm now expecting these classless, low energy performances, no show performances by their entire team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander included. So that is where we're at. 108-91. Game 7 is looming large on Sunday. Not sure at what time, but I would guess 8:30, 8 or 8:30, because that is when all of these games have been played out throughout the first 6 games of the finals. So more than likely 8 or 8:30 on Sunday night, and we'll get the line. I'm interested to see that, so I'll check that momentarily. But first, we are now 20 minutes into the lounge here. Many of you are going to get exactly what you want, which is a Game 7. Obviously, who doesn't like Game 7s? As I said, the greatest combination, the best pairing of 2 words, any 2 words in the history of spoken language, Game 7. So who can't get up for that? Hopefully we get a good one and not a Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder Game 7. But welcome into all of you, about, 600-ish people here at the 21-minute mark of the lounge, just over 11:30 on the East Coast here in the good old US of A. And like I said, welcome into all of Pacers Nation who's here. I know that the Indiana Pacers contingent are likely out strong here tonight in the comment section, reveling in the Pacers, ready to get on and say, I told you so. Ready. I'm sure Lester's banana is standing by, frothing at the mouth, ready for some banana commentary at some point on here. Obviously, I'm sure there's a plethora of banana commentary lingering out there in the comment section at this point. For those of you who don't know, we'll probably get into the banana gate later on at some point in here. But also welcome in to moderator Gary, who is on board as well tonight. Gary, what's up, and welcome into you.
Yes, sir. Just getting ready for Game 7. Looking forward to the outcome of this series. Well, one thing we were wrong about is the series is more competitive than we thought it was going to be. You especially didn't think, you said you thought it was going to be the worst series of all time or something, or in your lifetime at least. I didn't know if it was going to be that bad, but I definitely didn't think it was going to go to a Game 7. But nonetheless, the outcome's going to be the same. OKC's going to win, and Indiana does not have a chance of winning this series. There will be no trophy celebration in Indiana come next week. Now, if you want to have a trophy celebration tomorrow to celebrate your Game 6 victory, by all means, go at it. But there will be no celebration in Indiana for an NBA championship.
Yeah, I will say this, Gary. The thing, when I was saying the worst series ever, not necessarily the lack of competition. What I was expecting, I thought that the Pacers would likely get one game. And I didn't necessarily think they would get blown out worse than your Spurs blew out the Heat in 2014. But I was mainly making a commentary on the viewership and just the general fanfare and excitement surrounding the series. And I don't know what the numbers are since, but after the first 2 or 3 games, it was trending on one of, I think it was like the second worst or lowest watched series in finals history.
Okay, so I see the chat. I'm going to say this one time.
Are they gaslighting you, Gary? Gary, is the chat gaslighting you?
Yes, they're telling me that I don't sound confident. Skap, just for the record, have I ever sounded remotely confident that OKC may lose this series? As a matter of fact, I think that you had less confidence in OKC during Game 4. Because you even admitted there was a time where you said, wow, I think Indy may actually win this series. I never said that. Even in the fourth quarter in Game 4, I never strayed. So I don't understand this. What I'm doing now, I'm not doing what I was doing a few days ago, where everyone was complaining because I was chiming in with my opinions. So what did I say? After OKC won Game 4 and Game 5, what did I say? See, the thing is, these Pacer fans, they weren't here. So they don't remember that I said I'm no longer chiming in with my opinions. I mean, unless a super chat has my name and wants me to answer something, I'm going to moderate the chat. I'm going to read the super chats for you. If you ask me something, sure, I'll answer. But people started complaining. I'm not here to hear Gary. I don't care about his opinion. I want to hear Skap Attack's opinion. I feel that. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of false advertisement because it doesn't say Skap Attack and Gary 828. It says Skap Attack. So I can understand their frustration. So I'm like, I'm going to be quiet from now on unless addressed. And now, because I'm not talking as much as I was, these Pacers fans are saying that I have backed off of my original position, in which I have not backed off at all. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to pay these guys any attention the exact same way they don't pay attention after games 4, games 5, and they sure as hell will not show up after game 7. So gaslight that, you Indiana Pacer losers.
Man, I am seeing these. I'm in the chat. I'm in the main chat area right now. And Gary, you are absolutely taking it on the chin right now. They are gaslighting you, Gary. My goodness. Holy cow. Wow. Guys, you guys are ruthless right now on that main chat. Stop gaslighting moderator Gary, damn it.
But here's the thing. Where are you guys going to be game 7? You're not going to win. You're going. Gary is terrified. Betwixt is not the Vin Diesel YouTube handle. Where have you been, Betwixt? Our frenemy says that I am what? Now it went away. What did Betwixt say? That I'm terrified. What am I terrified of? You know what? Okay, he's right. I am terrified. I am terrified that after OKC beats the brakes off of Indy in game 7, none of my Indiana pals will be here to celebrate OKC's championship because you all are a bunch of sore losers. That's why you didn't show up after game 2. You didn't show up after game 4. You didn't show up after game 5. And there's no way you're going to show up after game 7 because you're a bunch of sore losers. So as I have said, I can't stand annoying sports fans who only show up when their team wins. Bandwagon front runners. And that's what I have learned Indy Nation is. Now I understand why the Knicks hate the Pacers. I love Reggie Miller. I was a huge Pacers fan in the 90s, mostly because of Reggie Miller. And I always thought that it was the Knicks fans that were the problem during that rivalry. Now I'm seeing how bandwagon front-running Indy Nation is. Wow, maybe the Knicks fans were not the problem. Maybe they weren't quite as bad as I originally thought. Because this is a pack of sore losers. Scott, how many people are in here right now? 544?
550. About
550. How many do you think will be in here game 7 after OKC beats the brakes off of the Pacers?
My guess would be 250 to 300.
Yeah, probably just a few. There'll probably be a few extra who are just neutral fans. But how many Pacers fans do we think we'll have?
I don't think we'll have many. If the Pacers somehow win, there will be over 1,000 people in here for sure. So I'm saying, so if the Thunder win like 250-ish, if the Pacers win like 1,000, and right. Look, I can't say I'm necessarily surprised. I'm shocked at the fact that the Thunder, I thought they would have learned their lesson after the Denver Nuggets series and letting a team hang around. Because look, the Nuggets weren't much of a team at all. The Pacers are a much better team. I mean, Haliburton after tonight's game is averaging like 16 points per game and 6 assists a game. Like that's their all-star superstar player. Haliburton 16-6. Like if Jokic were putting out 16-6 on like low 40% shooting percentage, like Haliburton is now, the Nuggets would have gotten swept. But for whatever reason, this is just a better team, obviously, than Denver. That ain't saying much because Denver stinks. That team stinks. So it looks like, quite frankly, I think this has very little to say about the Pacers. I think whoever got here from the East, the low character Oklahoma City Thunder, we're just going to let them be in the series. Like, it doesn't matter who it is that got in. It was just going to be, it looked like this was destined to be a lengthy series, regardless of who it was. Tonight, again, it just looked like the Thunder didn't show up at all. If you really want me to nitpick or to investigate what happened, really, primarily it was about the 3-point line tonight to me and the turnover battle. The Pacers really kept it clean, took good care of the ball. Like I said, they had one turnover for a lot of the first half. They had single dig at the end of the third quarter, 10 for the whole game, whereas the Oklahoma City Thunder had 21 turnovers. And then conversely, look, the Pacers didn't shoot the hell out of the ball from the 3-point line, but they made 15 tonight, 15 of 42. The Oklahoma City Thunder ended the game 8 of 30, but they were like 1 of 15 at one point early. I should say mid to late stage of the second quarter. They had made 1 3-point shot nearing halftime. They end up 8 of 30, but they make 8 threes, 15 threes made for the Indiana Pacers, nearly doubled them. Look, the game, a good team-wide performance by Indiana. The game will be on the road. Historically, universally, throughout any level of series, at any path or time historically throughout NBA history, generally speaking, role players, the bench, etc., play better at home. They don't play as well on the road. Oklahoma City will be at home in Game 7, and we'll see. Game 7s generally they're tight. They're feel-out kind of games early on. They're typically, I talked about it in the before Game 7 of the Nuggets Thunder series. It's a tight butthole moment. Okay, the buttholes are tight. You can't get even a little puff of air in there. You can't fit a blade of grass in the butthole in a Game 7, and that is generally, it doesn't matter what stage, the first round or whatever. This is Game 7 NBA Finals. All the marbles. The Larry O.B. is going to be in the building, is going to be ready to be uncased for one of these two teams. It's everything. So I think, look, it's going to be a very tight, I think, defensive feel-out game early on. And then can either team get separation early? I think if one team does, it might just, and I'm thinking, yes, it's going to be the Thunder that does it. I think it could just be an avalanche like we saw against the Denver Nuggets. So we shall see, but we will see, because it is going 7 now on the heels of this thoroughly dominant ass beating that Indiana laid out tonight on the disinterested Oklahoma City Thunder. Look like they just couldn't care less to be part of this game, and look like they're just totally ready for Game 7 at home on Sunday. But Garrett, we are now we're over 30 minutes into the lounge. Here it is. We are getting close to midnight, and we do have 24 super chats already queued up in 33 minutes. So many thanks to all of you for your ongoing support and generosity of me here in the lounge. I appreciate it. I love all of you guys. Without further ado, let's get to it. And my girl Stephanie here is going to kick us off with the first one of the night. Stephanie, what's up? Welcome into you. And thank you for being here as always. Gary, what does Stephanie have for us tonight?
OKC don't get past the second round without home court advantage.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they play all year for, though. They easily had home court advantage. They had 68 wins. The number 2 seed in the West, at least, had 52 wins. That was the Houston Rockets. Then I think 2 or 3 teams had 50 wins. So, they just ran away with the West. In the East, Boston had 61, so 7 fewer than the Thunder had. And I think Cleveland had 64, so 4 less. So the Thunder just kind of cakewalk to that 1 seed. That's why they play all regular season. They earned the home court advantage. So, and they earned this right to have that game in their building now, Game 7 with an NBA crown on the line on Sunday. So we would expect their bench players, their second tier players to play well. Look, this is a magnificent bench, a bench that has been the number one bench throughout the NBA for much of the season, regular season, and into the postseason, but a bench that has been soundly outplayed by the Indiana Pacers. And some of it, I think, is just the puzzling substitution patterns of Mark Daigneault, last year's coach of the year. I think not enough is being talked about him and what he's been doing throughout the entirety of the series. But, we'll see. They've got 2 full days now to prepare, and we'll see what they come out with in Game 7 at home in Oklahoma City. Next, we've got Skap's Extra Strong Cologne in next with yet another avatar change. What it looks like, is that me saying to Tyrese Haliburton, "Why won't you die"? Is that what the new avatar? Is that right, Gary?
Yeah, that's okay. That's correct.
So that's that yet another avatar change. I love it. Skap's Extra Strong Cologne, magnificent as always. Many thanks for your continued antics here in the lounge. Gary, what does Skap's Extra Strong Cologne have for us tonight?
Hey, Skap, where will Rick Carlisle rank among the greatest coaches in the history of the NBA if he's able to pull off a Game 7 victory for the Pacers?
The question has been brought up before. We've discussed it before, but I think as we now get closer and closer to that being a potential reality, them winning the series, him winning that series, I think, look, the names that routinely get brought up, obviously, Phil Jackson and Red Auerbach, because I think Phil has 11 titles and Red, I think, has 10. So just as head coaches. So those are the 2 names most prominently brought up. Then for the most, Greg Popovich is another name that is thrown around a lot. Then it's pretty much who's next on your Mount Rushmore kind of deal. I think Rick Carlisle's in the mix. I think I would put him at the lowest in my top 7, maybe top 5 for sure if he gets this one, because you're going to be putting this one together with that one in 2011 when they not just beat the Miami Heat, which is the thing everybody really remembers, when they beat that Miami super team. But I mean, the teams that he had to beat in the West to get into the NBA Finals just to get a chance to play that Heat team and beat them. Those are just two different organizations, 2 franchises, a huge amount of time separating those 2 runs, and really 2 juggernaut-looking super team-like beasts that they've had to play in the finals in both. This would be an absolutely magnificent achievement for Rick Carlisle, who has been, I don't know if he's been officially fired, but he has been not really retained. Like, we don't really want your services anymore a couple times in his career. So it's crazy that multiple teams out there just didn't really want Rick Carlisle anymore. The guy is one of the greatest of all time, and he will likely, hopefully, get his credit and his due for that if and when they win this series. I don't see it happening. And even if they don't win the game, it's still been a hell of a job for him this year. Next in is the Enforcer. Welcome into a regular, very, well-known benefactor and sponsor, very generous supporter of us here in the lounge. Enforcer, welcome into you, Gary. What is it tonight to lead the way for the Enforcer?
Is OKC the worst, best team in history?
It's starting to get to that point. They're reminding me a lot, quite frankly, of the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, who, remember, they were 73-9 in the regular season. So in an 82-game regular season, they lost 9 total games. But in the postseason, I think they lost 8 or 9 games. I'm just going to check. I'm just going to check it. It was 8 or 9 losses for the Warriors. They lost 6 right there off the bat. 6, 7, 8. They lost 8 games in the postseason that year. How the hell does a team that is 73-9 in the regular season go 15-8 then in the postseason? These bums in Oklahoma City are starting to remind me of that fraudulent 73-9 Golden State Warriors team. So maybe they will finish it off with a cataclysmic choke. Though I can't even say that 2016 loss was a big-time choke, because to me, the Cavaliers were every bit as good. They just didn't have the regular season that the Golden State Warriors had. But Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love on that team, every bit as good. Arguably, their top-line players even better than the Golden State Warriors team had that season, which is why they ultimately lost. So I think, look, that Cleveland Cavaliers team was a hell of a lot more of a foe for that Golden State team than the Indiana Pacers are for this year's Oklahoma City team. This is just a pathetic, disgusting performance by Oklahoma City, in my estimation. Next in is Mike Ross. What is up, Mike? Welcome back into you. Again, many thanks for your continued support. Gary, what does Mike have for us tonight?
Hey, Skap, if the Pacers win Game 7, who would you have as Finals MVP?
That is actually a great question. I think you probably have to look at Pascal Siakam. I don't want to just be a complete and total sellout here. I don't want to use the word sellout. It's more of a cop-out, just because Pascal Siakam is leading the Pacers in scoring. But, I mean, who else, though, would it be? I mean, I'm looking for other differentiators or people that you know might separate themselves in some way. It might go into whoever has like the bigger look. If Tyrese Haliburton has some magnificent fourth quarter and hits a game-winning shot, or is clutch down the stretch, factoring that performance in with his game one performance and hitting that game winner, and just the fact that he's been gut checking it through with this injury, I think that probably if that were the way Game 7 would go, that Haliburton likely would be the answer. If you ask me right now, gun to head, I would probably go with Pascal Siakam. Coming into tonight's game, in fact, Tyrese Haliburton was averaging 15 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds on 45% shooting. So 15 points per game was the second highest output per game coming into tonight's game for any Indiana Pacer player. Pascal Siakam, though, 21 points per game coming into tonight, leading the way. So 6 points per game average over the next highest scorer for the Indiana Pacers coming into tonight. Coming into tonight, though, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players averaging in double digits, in double figures for the Indiana Pacers coming into tonight. That is unbelievable. So as of right now, I would say Siakam's got the advantage after tonight through 6 games if the Pacers end up winning this series. But I think, quite frankly, it's going to be a Herculean effort if they get it done in Game 7. So whichever player is most instrumental in getting that one over the finish line, I think that person will become the answer in the aftermath of Game 7. But that is going to be a nail biter if the Pacers win. Just holding your breath to see who gets it. And I don't know if they've changed it, but there is some crazy low amount of people that vote on that, by the way. I don't know. They might have changed that within the last few years, but as of 4 or 5 years ago, when I was still dialed into the breakdown on the votes and stuff, it's some crazy low amount of people. It's like 15 people or something ridiculous that vote on that Finals MVP. So I don't know if they've added more people to that mix or not, but otherwise, like, it's just going to be interesting. We're going to have to wait with bated breath till the commish delivers that little MVP trophy to see. I think maybe Haliburton with a big performance. Otherwise, I would myself would vote for Siakam. Thurston Furcox, love that handle. Thurston, incredible name, incredible handle. Welcome back into you. Go ahead, Gary, with Thurston's comment for tonight.
Same script as the Denver OKC series. Commissioner Adam Spielberg ain't slick.
Yeah, it's the same. It is the same script, same exact. Thunder blow a massive game 1 lead, blow and lose up on a buzzer beater. Literally the same exact way the Denver Nuggets game 1 of that series went. Then an easy game 2 win for the Thunder in the Nuggets series, in this series. And then the Pacers come back at home in game 3, just like the Denver Nuggets did last. last series, avenge that game 2 loss, go up 2-1. Then the Thunder win back-to-back games in this series, just like they did in the Denver series, to go up 3-2. And then the Pacers came home and forced it into a 7th game at home in game 6, just like the Denver Nuggets did. So here we are. Yes, Thurston. Yes, it's the same exact script playing out. And we'll see who is the official, maybe Scott Foster, some Thunder magic, just like he was in the house in game 7 against the Nuggets. If that is the case, then look for an absolute blowout yet again. Jolly Josham's now, another regular, is back in here into the sponsors area of the lounge. Thank you, Jolly. Welcome to you. Gary, go ahead with Jolly tonight.
Scripted or not, I've been enjoying the games. I've been able to watch this finals better than the 4-game blowout sweep I predicted.
For sure. And it's funny, I don't time these. Like, those 2 super chats followed each other, with Thurston talking about the script, and now Jolly Josham's coming in right back to back. It's talking about scripting. So yeah, I agree. And it's been the whole postseason. And I think, look, we can credit the Denver Nuggets and the Indiana Pacers for saving the NBA playoffs, in my estimation, because the Thunder looked like who we thought they were in the first round and the third round in the West Finals against the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round and the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, absolutely eviscerating both of those teams by like record playoff margins in a 4-0 and a 4-1 sweep and gentleman sweeping. But the Denver Nuggets, out of nowhere, with a significantly lesser squad than the Oklahoma City Thunder had when they went into that series, somehow, some way, the Denver Nuggets, through moxie and who knows what other kind of magic, coupled with the inconsistencies and the just choking antics of the Oklahoma City Thunder, for lack of a better term, somehow that gets into a 7th. And now the Indiana Pacers have done the same thing. So credit to the Pacers and the Nuggets for for not just letting this be, 4-0, 4-0, 4-1, 4-0 in the playoffs for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and making this watchable and compelling, even though I've never really felt like the Thunder were in any real jeopardy of losing this series or any series throughout these playoffs. Still, though, at least we are getting deep series here, 2 7-game series now. Will N in next. Will, welcome back into you. Many thanks for your continued support of us here. Gary, what does Will have for us right now?
Honestly, both teams played like hot garbage.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I think both teams end in the low 41% range of shooting. The Thunder shot 41.9% in this game and 41.3% for the Indiana Pacers. But like, the Pacers were up, I was looking at the box score, as I typically do while I was watching the game. And I noted that, the Pacers they were up double digits with about 4 minutes to go in the first half. And yet they were shooting 37% from the field. So they were taking a page out of the Thunder's book. They were actually capitalizing on turnovers and stuff. And then the Thunder were low, like 40% shooting. So kind of, a sloppier offensive game from both teams ultimately. Nobody showed up for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nobody from an offensive standpoint. And then it looks suspiciously like their defense is just too plugged into their offense at this point. Like they're underperforming, or not really trying, not giving the requisite effort that you would anticipate when the shots aren't falling at the other end. Again, a telltale sign of a classless team, a young, inexperienced team, and one that's not very well coached. So, and yet we know all of those things allegedly to not be true about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they keep making it look like it is true with each and every passing performance that they deliver like this throughout this postseason. So, Will, and I agree, it wasn't a necessarily beautiful performance by Indiana, even though they come out and beat the brakes off of the Thunder. Rob Thames is in next. Rob, welcome in to you. Gary, I just briefly scanned this real quick. Looks like we have a Bane trade question. I'm intrigued to see. Go ahead and see what Rob has for us, Gary.
Hey, Skap, thoughts on the Desmond Bane trade and why the game announcers volume is so low on the TV broadcast? I've noticed it for about a decade now.
I'm not sure about that, Rob. Is it in comparison to just the general, additional sounds in the arena? You think like the music that they pipe in, the fans, etc., or are you just saying it's just low in general? Because one thing I noticed that drives the absolute hell out of me, drives me crazy, I should say, is that the commercials are so much louder on basically every channel on regular broadcast television. You're watching whatever you're watching, a movie, a show, a game, whatever it is, at a reasonable and enjoyable volume for you. And then a commercial break comes along and blows your damn eardrums out, and you're forced to turn it down during the commercial. So then when it comes back to your regular programming of whatever you're watching, it's then too damn low and you have to turn it back up. So maybe there might be a little bit of that or all of those things factored in, Rob. What do I think about that Desmond Bane trade? I talked a little bit about it in the lounge last time. I absolutely love the deal for the Orlando Magic. I think he fits in the backcourt perfectly. I think the one there and him will be a perfect fit together. But more so, I think making Desmond Bane your third best player, if Paolo Banchero can remain healthy for the vast majority of a season, and if Franz Wagner can remain healthy for the vast majority of a season, and if those guys play together for 70 some games, I think you're looking at maybe the 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference when the postseason begins. That's how much I like the Orlando Magic this season. And then if they get into the playoffs together, look, that's a very good defensive team. They were a top 8 net rated defensive team, and Bane will fit right in with that. So I think Banchero is going to be an all-NBA, maybe second team performer. Franz Wagner should be an all-star. Again, if they play, at least 65, 70 games each. I think the Magic can make some serious noise next year in the playoffs. So I really, really do like the move for the Magic. With that said, undoubtedly they overpaid. I mean, to give up Cole Anthony and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 2 pretty decent role players, but then in addition to that, 4 unprotected first-round picks, 4 unprotected. And they're not swaps either. They're just sending out 4 first-rounders with no stipulations or protections attached to it. And one of those is going to be the Suns for next year, and the Suns are going to stink once they totally gut their team and Durant leaves. I think I see Bradley Beal is expected to ask for a trade too. Really, Bradley Beal. And I want to be, I don't know, I want to have $1 billion. Like Bradley Beal wants a trade. That's cute. Like who the hell wants that guy? 50 million or whatever that he's making to play 40 games and not even at a high level, really, particularly in the 40 games that he does play. Sure, you want to trade. Yeah, I'm sure. And a lot of people want a lot of things, Bradley. When the Suns were trying to get him in, talk him into waiving the no trade clause at the deadline, he didn't want any part of it. So my estimation is the Suns would love to move him, but who the hell is going to want to take Bradley Beal? Like that's even more of a ludicrous assertion than the Nuggets trying to sell someone on MPJ at this point. So we'll see about that. But 4 first-round picks is crazy talk to me for Desmond Bane. Like I realize that you can't just say, well, Desmond Bane's worth 4, so that means Giannis is worth 12. I understand it doesn't work that way. But the fact that Desmond Bane commanded 4 unprotected first-round picks is nuts. Like, first of all, what does that say about the market for Kevin Durant or for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Firstly, and secondly, can we go back and look at this Luka Doncic trade and the fact that only 1 first-round pick was exchanged in that? What in the hell? Like, what kind of collusion is going on? We need to launch a full congressional hearing. Write your senators and Congress people, please, guys. Petition them. We need a full-fledged investigation. I want like some crazy Mueller report-like investigation to dig into the Luka Doncic trade from Dallas. And I would like to head it. I would like to be that person. Give me unlimited subpoena powers. This is my promise to you in the lounge right here and right now. I will get to the bottom of that trade, guys. But yes, Rob, I do like the trade for the Magic. And unfortunately, it looks like you just got to crank that volume up.
Hey, and I've got to say real quick, I think the Magic can easily go to the finals with Desmond Bane. I mean, if the weak-ass Pacers can go to the finals in the East one of the weakest teams to ever make the finals, then I think the Magic easily could.
Yeah, Gary, I think it's a good point. Look, literally halfway through this year's playoffs, people were probably saying, oh, yeah, the Pacers, they're a nice, like, second-tier team. They might, they're going to lose in the second round, maybe somehow get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And now here they are, literally one game away from winning the NBA championship. I think a lot of teams in the East can look at that, look at what they've done and say to themselves, yo, look, Boston has no Tatum. They're going to probably shed one guy. I'm hearing Drew Holiday is as good as gone. Probably maybe Kristaps Porzingis as well. So Boston ain't going to be a factor next year. So really you're looking at like Cleveland and then Indiana and New York again. Like, are any of those teams unbeatable? I would say no. So the fact that the Magic won 40-some games this year, but Paolo Banchero missed like 40 games. Franz Wagner missed like 30 games. So you add those two guys at relative health and a year older next year and Desmond Bane, I like the Magic. I too, Gary, I agree. I can see them making some kind of a magical run, at least to the ECF, if not maybe being like a dark horse NBA Finals contender for next season. I co-sign that, Gary. Next in, we've got Lester's Banana. Actually, Gary is just gaslighting, I think. I don't know if he actually believes his last comment about the Magic, or if he was just gaslighting you, Indiana, as he would put it, all of you bandwagoner Pacer fans out there. But next, and speaking of big supporters of the Indiana Pacers and backers, none bigger right now in the lounge than Lester's Banana. I guess, Lester, welcome into you. Congratulations to you. I guess I better look for some Amazon purchase overnight that I could get a banana pajamas overnighted to me, and one of those Axel Foley banana disguises from Beverly Hills Cops 1. I better see what I can drudge up there on
maybe
overnight
a banana
Amazon.
onesie.
What's that, Gary? He wants the onesie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do. But first, Gary, go ahead and read Lester's Banana. What his comment is tonight.
Watch the NBA send Scott Foster to ref Game 7. Of course, he's one of their best refs. Of course, he's going to make sure that Indiana does not cheat. He's going to keep things fair. He's going to make sure that the Pacers, those goons, are not hacking SGA. And he's going to make sure SGA gets his fair amount of fouls called so that OKC can have a fair chance at winning this, in which they really don't need, because it's going to be so easy. What's the line, Skap? Go ahead and give us that line.
Yeah, let's say I've been teasing it. Let me check it right now here.
And I had a few Pacers fans that said, "Oh, put your money where your mouth is. Let's bet some money." Like you guys would pay me. Of course I'd take that bet. You guys won't even show up after a loss. What makes me think you would actually pay me? You guys have no integrity. You guys are cowards and sore losers. So, of course, I wouldn't actually bet money, because you show up at my doorstep. If there was a miracle and God parted the seas and the Pacers won, you'd show up at my doorstep for your payment. But if when OKC wins, you guys would freaking move to Antarctica before you paid, because that's how you guys are, a bunch of sore losers. That's why you were nowhere to be found after games 4 and 5, and why you would totally disappear. You're going to pull a Harry Houdini after game 7. So I am sad that after tonight, I'm not going to get to see Pacers Nation again, unless they make the finals again, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So this is probably the last time I will ever see Pacer Nation on here, which makes me sad, because I've grown very fond of them over the last 2 weeks.
Now, Gary, I don't plan these out. I do jump around some, but I haven't tonight. There was a Scott Foster mention from Lester's Banana. The very next comment by Samson the Current is also about Scott Foster. We'll get to that in one moment. But first, I do just want to mention my best friend in the whole world, which many of you guys have met throughout the playoff run here in the lounge. It's my best buddy in the whole world. She's a 12-pound, not quite, little Shih Tzu. Her name is Luna. She's my best friend, my little assistant, and she's had a very rough day. She hates thunderstorms. She hates lightning. She hates thunder, and here in Florida, it has been thunderstorming basically every day for like 3 or 4 straight days. So this poor little girl doesn't get any sleep whenever it's thundering out, and neither do I, because I just pace around holding her and walking back and forth because she's shivering and shaking, and she's not had a fun couple days. So I just wanted to lift her up and say hi to everybody because Gary, during that last comment, there are now thunder booms filling the air outside. So she started scratching at my leg while you were talking, and she's shivering now, and she's just very scared. And I just wanted to pick her up and assure her that it's going to be okay. I'll be holding her probably for the rest of the live stream, however long we may go. She also had to get her hair cut today, so she really, it's just been a tough day, a tough 24 hours for my poor little buddy Luna. So I just wanted to give her a little shout out here on the live stream. We have plied her with copious amounts of doggy CBD tonight, hoping in preparation for a storm, hoping that it wouldn't. But if it did, hopefully she would be, adequately chilled out. But it's not looking like it's working too much because she's shivering and shaking right now. But let's continue on. I just wanted to let you guys know if I disappear or open the door or whatever, Luna's just kind of freaking out. So next, though, Samson, the current is in. And here we go. Like I had promised, another Scott Foster comment. Go ahead, Gary.
How many final series has Scott Foster altered? I don't know what all the hate. I love Scott Foster. I think he's a hell of an official, and I think he's going to do a fair job for Game 7. And I like the way he's officiated this series thus far because he's really helped keep those cheating Pacers down from getting foul calls against
Gary.
SGA. SGA, I hate the way SGA does not get enough calls. He needs to get more free throws. I see him getting hacked by these goon Indiana defenders like crazy. I'm like, Scott, why didn't you call a foul? If anything, he doesn't call enough fouls for SGA, and I hope he keeps it more fair this Game 7.
All right, Gary, it's been decided. You're no longer moderator, Gary. It's the birth of Gaslighter Gary. We're in the birth, a dawn of a new era. The era of gaslighting Gary is here, guys. We've got Gary the Gaslighter. He has turned the stages. He has flipped the script on all of you out there. Now he is the one that's turning up the light here on all of you. He's now gaslighting everybody. I'll say this about Scott Foster. He definitely jobbed my Nuggets in Game 7. There's no doubt about that. With the way that game was called and officiated, that was ridiculous. We'll see. I am interested to see who's going to official. I bet it probably will be Scott Foster, and I think everybody will just be complaining for once it's announced, whenever it's announced, probably sometime tomorrow. I'm sure the internet is just going to be ablaze and are going to be talking about that for the next 48 hours and complaining about it. Next thing we've got Squared Away. What's up, Squared Away? Welcome into you. Thanks for supporting us here in the lounge. I do appreciate that. Gary, what does Squared Away have for us?
A 6'1" point guard off the bench grabbed 9 rebounds. One off of Hartenstein, a 7-footer. If they win, give him the MVP.
So he's talking about my main man, Pittsburgh's finest, TJ McConnell. You guys can't see it right now, but Gary actually mentioned it. It's under my jacket. I have a Pittsburgh Steelers tee on underneath my blazer because I too am from Pittsburgh. And he's talking TJ McConnell, who did have a great game last game too. He had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals tonight in 24 minutes on 6 of 12 shooting. That would be wild. If little TJ McConnell ended up getting the finals MVP, that would be absolutely not Squared Away. I'm here for it. Give it to Pittsburgh zone. He's referencing TJ McConnell. Is he 6'1"? I didn't even think he was that big. He looks even smaller than that on the court. But yeah, nonetheless, a great back-to-back performances by TJ, and really just a good playoff run by him. And again, the Pacers' entire bench has been very, very impressive.
Yeah, and he is the main reason Indiana is taking this to Game 7. It's TJ McConnell. If they were to miraculously win, he should be MVP. Clearly, he's the best player on the Pacers.
Gaslighter Gary is going back. He's got the black hat on now. He is the rogue villain now to all of you guys. You have pushed him. Moderator Gary is dead. Now it is only Gary the Gaslighter that remains in his place. We got Rob Thames back in for more here in the sponsor area. Thank you, Rob. Gary, what is this most recent one from Rob say?
7 games does not a good series make. This one has been boring. Only one possession game with 5 not close. I can't watch a whole game.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I think some of the games, though, are pretty intriguing down the stretch. Like even the last game, which was ended up being a double-digit margin. Like it was still, though, the Thunder were rolling through most of the game, and then they got cut down to a 2-point lead with like 8 minutes to go in the fourth. So even though that wasn't, a tight game in the last 2 or 3 minutes, it still was intriguing. There still was some interesting storylines abound in that game. I think, I agree. There is something to it where like I've seen, compelling 5-game series where like a series might only go 5, but like every game is like a 1 possession game in the last like 2 minutes. So it seems like a lot closer than it actually is, with the fact that it's only a 5-game, but every game is highly super competitive. Whereas, yes, sometimes you can see 7-game series where like the same thing is kind of true of the Nuggets series. Like the Nuggets won 3 very tight games, and then the Nuggets got blown to pieces in like 3 of the 4 games they lost. So like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like that series, yeah, it went 7, but like it wasn't like you really didn't, other than game 1, like none of the games were really that close or compelling. So I do kind of understand your point here, Rob, but still a 7-game series is still better than a 4-game beatdown, which is what I was anticipating. Next in is Lightspeed. Welcome back in, Lightspeed. And many thanks to you for your continued support. Gary, what does Lightspeed have for us?
If the Pacers win Game 7, Skap should seek commission for every time he says dogs, bums, ass, vomit, and diarrhea.
Come on, guys. Yes, come many. Onto the live stream Sunday night following Game 7. If the Pacers win and the Thunder lose, bring your favorite beverage of choice. Make sure it's not just a straight liquor. You're going to want to, if liquor is your drink of choice, what you want to do is have some kind of a mixer, have like some mixed drinks going there, or bring like beer, wine, whatever, and have it be, we can play a drinking game. Anytime I say dogs, bums, ass, vomit, diarrhea, gag, choke, and we'll come up with a list of things that you have to drink every time I say that. You guys will be hammered regardless, no matter what you bring. You could bring like a case of Miller Lite, and just drinking that 4% ABV will have you guys lit by the time I am done on that probably 2.5-hour live stream. By the time I'm done talking about that epic poo-poo sesh that will be the Thunder if they lose the game. And if it is just straight liquor, you'll be dead. So I don't want to kill anybody out there. So please bring your mixers accordingly. Do not drink responsibly. Do not drink straight liquor on this game, because no human being's liver can withstand the force of that over the 2.5 hours that will ensue if the Oklahoma City Thunder somehow, some way lose. GGT999 is in next. What's up, GGT? Welcome back in again. Another regular. Thank you so much for your continued support. Gary, what does GGT have for us tonight?
Man, Indiana giving me 2014 Spurs flashbacks. GG, do not insult my Spurs. What did we do to the Heat in the finals? How do they look like? Do not insult my Spurs. I will hold on. Let me go ahead. Let me ban him.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't ban GGT, but I am with Gaslighter Gary on this one. He's not even gaslighting on this one. That is insulting GGT of Gary Spurs, because the Spurs just kicked the Heat's ass in that series. GGT, that was the greatest margin of differential in finals history, meaning the amount of points they won that series by, even losing one game, is the biggest in league history. In playoff history, the Spurs were easily the better team in that series. And the Pacers are not that in this series. So I think the Pacers I think the good comp for the Pacers are the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, who were both coached by Rick Carlisle. That's the comp. They had a bench player in that series in 2011 who was the second leading scorer for the Dallas Mavericks. I think the third leading scorer for the whole series. So just a great team effort in that series, and a significantly lesser team, a substantially underdog team, just took it to a much greater foe and beat their ass ultimately in 6 games. So I think really the better comp would be what you should be getting flashbacks to is Rick Carlisle's 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Next thing, we've got Jose Vargas, again, another very prominent donor here, a very generous sponsor of us here in the lounge. Jose, welcome into you, and many thanks for being here. I think we've got a couple from you, but what's this first one from Jose say, Gary?
Skap, would it be possible that this team just isn't that great? No favorable whistle, no win. They rely too much on offensive rebounds, steals, and a favorable whistle to get these wins. Could it be?
Jose, I just don't know. And look, I my whole life, until probably about 3-4 years ago, I've been adamantly opposed to these advanced analytics. But I've gotten more and more into advanced ratings, advanced metrics, and the analytics of it all in the last 2-3 years. And the sheer breadth of the breakdown of things that are involved and entailed in some of these advanced ratings. I mean, it's just hard to discount or refute what we're seeing from them. And the fact that simple rating system, SRS, is essentially a metric which gauges how dominant you are in terms of the amount of differential that you produce throughout a season, but also factoring in the level of opponents that you're facing in building that differential. So the strength of your opponents, and the fact that this Thunder team is the best rated SRS team in NBA history, and that the teams that are substantially beneath them now at this point, because the Thunder easily set that mark this year, the 72-win 95-96 Bulls, the 71 Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Milwaukee Bucks, and the 72 Wilt, Jerry West, and Gail Goodrich Lakers teams. Like, those teams soundly beneath this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Now, if we're not putting them at those teams' levels, whatever, but they are a lot better than every team in this NBA. They are a lot better than this Indiana Pacers team. So I think this is just a systematic team-wide choke job by low character players and coaches, quite frankly. But yet they're still, I think, too talented, too big to fail. I think they're going to win the NBA championship. And really, I think they're going to defend the championship next year. In my far too early to call next year's favorites, I would say the Oklahoma City Thunder are the favorites next year to defend their championship. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I will be absolutely shocked and stupefied if the Thunder somehow lose this series. And if they do, it's going to be an interesting couple-day run-up to the NBA draft then, like for 2 days, 3 days after that Game 7 concludes, if they lose, to see if the Thunder want to get into the mix with like Kevin Durant or Giannis Antetokounmpo or something like that. I think they're going to win and they're not going to make any big changes. But if they lose somehow, and the way that every other player on that team has looked offensively other than Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they might be thinking to themselves like, oh, we need another scorer. Like maybe KD wants to have like a reuniting with Oklahoma City and come full circle. I don't know. Or maybe they go long-term and try to bring in Giannis. Who knows? It will be interesting to see if they lose. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Thunder are going to win by 15 plus in Game 7, but I have been wrong before. Not really. I mean, quite frankly, I'm pretty good at picking NBA champions before the season starts, generally speaking, though I did not believe in the Boston Celtics last year. I have believed in the Oklahoma City Thunder all year this year, so we'll see. And I think the Celtics would not have won last year if they didn't get all of, the luck that they got and the path that they received in the playoffs. And really, the Thunder have gotten lucky in their path, but it hasn't really mattered. They're still on the cusp of losing and blowing it. So, you know what? We'll just have to see. As Chris Berman always says, that's why they play the game. We'll see on Sunday night. Mason in. What is up, Mason? Shout out to you. I agree with you full-heartedly on this comment. Gary, what is it?
Jokic would have torn Indiana to pieces.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic would be just putting up mammoth numbers in this series had he gotten there. And SGA, I mean, been all right. He's been okay against the team that has really nobody that could or should be able to guard him. He's just been okay, regardless of what the series end numbers look like. He's had a couple of really bad moments throughout the course of this series, and Jalen Williams has been pretty spectacular as the second option throughout large stretches of this series. I think Jalen Williams came in. Now it's going to dip because he only scored 16 points tonight, but I think he came in tonight averaging 26 points per game in this series. So, it's still going to be like 23, 24 points per game when you factor in the 16 piece tonight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly, what shakes out, what Shea looks like on Sunday. I expect him to have a big game, but he's got to come out and set the tone early on. Like, just come out with it and just say, like, all right, I'm going to the basket every time. I'm getting a foul call every time, or I'm completing the basket every time. Like, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's goal for the first quarter in Game 7 should not be to slow play it or to feel it out or to try to get his teammates involved. Nah. You led the league in scoring. You're the league MVP. He should say, I'm dropping 20 in the first quarter in Game 7 at home, period. Come and stop me. That's how I'm going to set the tone. I'm not going to feel shit out. Y'all can feel me out when I come out and dump 20 on you in the first quarter. That's the energy that I want to see out of SGA on Sunday. We'll see if he comes with it. Jose is back in next with another Scott Foster comment. Targeting Gary the Gaslighter here with this one. Gary, I'll read this one to you. Gary better hope Scott Foster refs.
I do, because I want it to be a fair Game 7. Unlike tonight, SGA kept getting hacked, and Scott wasn't there to call fair foul calls, and we see what happens.
So, Gary, SGA did shoot. Let me just get this right. He shot a game high 8 free throws tonight. He led his team in free throw attempts, and he led both teams really in free. No one shot more than him tonight in 31 minutes, 8 attempts. That's not enough though for you, right? You think Scott?
No, he was getting hacked every possession. That's why Indiana won, because they hacked him, and the officiating was terrible. The officiating is the only reason this series is going to 7, because the series is rigged. Because the NBA just pushing it back. They knew OKC was going to blow them out in like 4 games. At first, we just thought, the league will help them get 1 game. But the league is really pushing some serious theater right now. They're trying to go for the Academy Award with this drama. What they don't realize is the league is trolling Indiana right now. Like Silver and everyone, they're like looking at Indiana fans. They're looking at the comments and laughing. They're like, these Pacers fans actually think they won these games, and they have a prayer in Game 7. But when Scott Foster comes in, he's going to neutralize all that, call a fair game, and OKC is going to win easily. By the end of the first quarter, it will be over. It'll be decided.
Well, you heard it. You heard it here first, guys. Gary the Gaslighter has called it. Scott Foster is coming in he's going to just corral this Indiana. He's going to neutralize the Indiana advantage, which is all the other officials, all the other cheating by every other official other than Scott Foster. So, keep your head on a swivel. We'll wait eagerly And we'll see probably tomorrow. I would imagine that the game officials will be announced sometime tomorrow. So we'll have to await eagerly the news on that one. We've got Just the Messenger in next. Welcome into you, yet another regular sponsor here for us in the lounge. Thank you, Just the Messenger. Gary, what does this one say?
Hallie happy for a blowout, only had to play 23 minutes. Game came down to who made more threes. On to game 7. I have no bone in this. Pacers will the upset.
Yeah, a couple of great points here. Like I said earlier, turnovers and the three-point line were the big deciders of tonight's game, in my estimation. The Pacers made roughly double the amount of three-point makes that the Oklahoma City Thunder made, and at one point, the Thunder were like 1 of 14 or 1 of 15 from the three-point line. And then, yeah, Haliburton really did not have to push it much on that injured calf, which, you know, people, again, were critical of Rick Carlisle coming into this game, critical of Haliburton for wanting to play on it. That's a questionable injury. Like many times, a calf injury that you push turns into an Achilles rupture. And this kid's facing significant career-altering injury to come out and play in this game. I respect the hell out of him for it. I think it's a terrible take to say that, oh, he's hurting his team or he shouldn't want to play. The hell with that. Like, this is a heroic performance by him, in my estimation, to come out here and face what could eradicate an entire season for him if the Achilles pops, could maybe not necessarily be career ending, but threatening to the degree that it might change, intrinsically alter what he is physically for the rest of his career if it goes. So
yeah, he knows the Pacers will never get back to the finals, so he's risking it all.
Right, exactly. I guess so, Gary. But to Just the Messenger's point, though, only 23 minutes played, though, for Tyrese Haliburton. And chew on this one. Haliburton plus 25, a game best, plus 25 tonight in only 23 minutes. So they were basically outscored the Thunder by about a point for every minute that he was on the floor. So that's pretty damn good. In my estimation. Great performance by him. Next in is Abstcrat. Abstcrat, welcome in. I will just read this one, Gary. I don't want to gaslight you with Abstcrat's recommendation that you get a Valium ASAP. Abstcrat, I gotta be honest. I think he's been pretty subdued, I think, tonight. I think Gary, tiring of the gaslighting he has been taking from everybody on the chat, has flipped the script on all of you, and Gary the Gaslighter has come into his own now. Gary is just gaslighting the hell out of the entire chat right now. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to see. Sorry, I was just pacing ahead. It looks like I'm still pretty far behind on these super chats. We're about an hour and a half in now. 12:30 on the East Coast. I do want to just jump ahead briefly to one of our very prominent, very generous donors here. Hopefully, Vacation Wealth Partners is still on. He dropped this about 40 minutes ago now at this point. Hopefully, I've been on for about an hour and a half now. This one came at 12:01. It's 12:40. So hopefully, Vacation Wealth Partners is on, because I just want to give a shout out and thanks to a very, very generous donation here from Vacation Wealth Partners. Shout out to you for your ongoing support and kindness, generosity to us throughout the entirety of this playoff run. Every time I come on here in the Skap Live After Dark, you're here supporting us with very generous donations. So I just wanted to jump ahead and make sure I got this one in. Hopefully you're still out there, Vacation Wealth Partners. And Gary, go ahead and read this one.
How would you describe this series historically? To me, it's maybe weirdest series ever. It's both boring and exciting all at the same time. Seems like when Pacers win, it's instantly exciting again. OKC wins and it feels boring and inevitable again. Well, yeah, OKC, it's like OKC going against elementary school kids. Of course, it's not fun. It's like they're letting the Pacers back in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Gary. I agree with Vacation Wealth Partners. It does. Like, anytime, and it was kind of the same way with the Denver Nuggets. I living again in my perpetual shell of hopelessness, despair, and just inevitability of defeat. some kind of crushing loss of some sort being just around the corner. I never truly thought that the Denver Nuggets were ever really in the series, even when they went up 1-0, even when they were up 2-1, even when they tied the series 3-3 to force a Game 7. I always in the back of my mind was fully anticipating Oklahoma City to win the series. Same thing is true of this. Some people may think that the Pacers have a shot, that the Pacers are going to come out and shock the basketball world on Sunday. I just don't see it. The only time I think, look, again, there was a fleeting moment in the Nuggets series when they were up 8 in Game 5. I thought if they won Game 5, they were up 8 at the end of the third quarter, and they were still up. They were up 9 with like 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I thought at that point, I'm like, if the Nuggets go up 3-2 and they get Game 6 in Denver, they could close out. Okay, they might actually do this. I think then when the Pacers were up 7 at the end of the third quarter in Game 4, looking for a 3-1 lead, at that point, there was a fleeting moment where I'm like, if they're up 3-1, then they'll have the shot where tonight could have been the closeout for them. Then I started thinking like, okay, maybe. But, that was for minutes, literally minutes. Like I got to think that for all of like 5 or 6 minutes of real time. And then the Thunder went on some like humongous run, like some like 15-3 run or some shit, and completely crushed the Nuggets and the Pacers' souls and won those games. And to me, that was the only chance that those teams had. So the Pacers had like 1 5-minute span of real time in this series where I thought like, oh, wow, this actually can't happen. Other than that, it's just been the Oklahoma City Thunder sleepwalking through a series. And the Pacers, again, kudos to them, just like the Denver Nuggets, for capitalizing and being willing participants and taking advantage of the Oklahoma City Thunder playing down. So, I'm with you, Vacation Wealth Partners. You get a Game 7, so there's obviously going to be some level of intrigue and excitement because it's an anything can happen kind of a game. But we've seen the fact that the Thunder can turn things on ahead in a heartbeat. Like they could be down. They were down 11 early in Game 7 to the Nuggets. And then by halftime, it was like an 18-point lead. So like even if the Pacers come out and are up early, like I'm not going to flinch and think like, oh boy, look at this. Like the Thunder are just so uber talented that I think that they could flip the switch at any time in any game and win. I think even tonight at halftime, I was like, well, okay, 22, but I still think maybe the Thunder could get back in this game. But then, they didn't score a point for like 4 minutes into the third quarter. I think that the Pacers opened up 6-0 to start the third quarter over 3 minutes. And it was all of a sudden, it was like a 29-point game. So at that point, okay, it's over because the Thunder just seem like they don't care about playing tonight. It's just so weird that they continue to just downplay and play to the level of their opponents, try to extend series. I don't get it, Vacation Wealth Partners, but hell, whatever. I'm here.
They're nice guys. They know that Indiana fans don't have much going in their lives, and so they wanted to give them something to look forward to. I think SGA is a saint. I mean, the whole OKC organization is just full of really nice people for not sweeping the Indiana Pacers. So
there you go. GLG in, everybody. That's Gaslighting Gary. GLG in with his take, obviously, on that. But Vacation Wealth Partners, again, thank you so much for your kind donation to us there. And I will jump back up to another kind donation from Betwixt. It looks like, oh boy, it looks like it's Gary here. I'll read this one, Gary, to you. Thank you, Betwixt, for yet another generous donation from you, by the way, and your continued support here in the chat is obviously very much appreciated. Gary, my fellow Olive Garden fan, let me stop you right there real quick, though, Betwixt. I also love Olive Garden, so I just want to get in there. I just want to throw my hat in the ring that I too like the OG. But Gary, my fellow Olive Garden fan, I'm only here after Pacers wins like a proper troll. We all can hear the abject fear in your voice. If Game 7 is tied going into the fourth, pucker up, Gary.
First of all, I'm not an Olive Garden fan. I think he's talking to Pacer Skap. If the Pacers won Game 7, they'd be like, hey, let's go celebrate at Olive Garden. The Pacers won.
Wow.
They
Man.
crawled out of their barns tonight. They were hibernating in their barns, games 4 and 5. Hey,
Wow.
Mimo, they won game 6. Let's go on to that here Skap Attack live stream and talk some trash because we're going to win the championship. Oh, we sure are, world. We got a good shot at game 7.
Wow. Wow, guys. Gary is just coming out for all of you right now. This is something. This is the rise of Gary the Gaslight. This is incredible. He's now just Gary is going at the entire Indiana base, maybe hell, the entire the whole area of Indiana now is under fire by Gary. But Betwixt is telling you, Gary, pucker up for game 7. I don't know, what is that, Betwixt? Does that mean like butthole puckered, as I like to talk about, the puckering of buttholes in game 7? We'll see. I think the longer that game is close for the Thunder, I think Betwixt is right about that. I think there will be some butthole puckering by the Thunder players and the Oklahoma City fan base. But Gary, though, does not seem to be one of those, according to him at least. Jose Vargas is back in. What's up, Jose? Welcome back into you. Gary, what's this one from Jose say?
It's not that we are Pacers fans. We don't like SGA.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming as well. And a lot of people in my requisite supporter group here, or my fan base, the people that tune in here, Gary, like I speculated this in the live stream last time or the time before, that it's less about Indiana fans. It's just people that don't like the Thunder and don't like SGA, either because a lot of people that follow me like Jokic, they feel a certain way about the MVP vote, or they just don't. They think that the Thunder, just as a team, are getting historically built and propped up too much. They want to see them brought down some pegs. I do believe that it's more anti-Thunder sentiment than it is positive Pacer sentiment. But I think it could be a mixture. But if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say there's more people that are just disliking the Thunder and SGA than there are people that are actually rooting for the Pacers necessarily. The Pacers are just an offshoot. They're just like a necessary element of it. Like they have to be a fan of the Pacers in order for the Thunder to lose and be brought down a couple pegs. Next, though, and we've got Will N in again. Welcome back in, Will. Gary, what's Will's latest take here?
If Malice in the Palace never happened, would the Pacers have won a chip that year?
I don't think so. I think they would have been right there in the conference finals. But I don't think so. I think that year's playoffs likely would have played out the same way that it did. But the Pacers were very good. And I don't think they just don't get remembered enough, that team, because of the Malice in the Palace. But the year they played the year they played the Pistons the year before, I think it was in the Eastern Conference Finals. That was a hellacious defensive slugfest. Both those teams, it went 7, maybe 6. But those were tight, low scoring, close, competitive defensive battles every game. And the Pacers were right there in that series, and they were right there in all of those games. And had they not basically like half the team been suspended for much of the year and Artest for the entire year, I think the Pacers would have factored in obviously prominently in the Eastern playoffs again, probably in the Eastern Conference Finals again. But I still think they would not have won the actual championship that year. But that Pacers team was really good. And people don't really remember how good they were just because the Malice in the Palace. And basically that kind of was the undoing of that team. It's still a crazy moment in sports history. One of the craziest moments in NBA history. I'll never forget that game that night. It was like 20 plus years ago now at this point, but an absolute just insane scene, and one of the biggest black eyes in league history for sure. That one of the darkest moments in the league. I think that's not an understatement or hyperbolic at all to say that. Betwixt is back in again. Wow, Betwixt Betwixt and Gary the Gaslighter have a little back and forth going now. I'll just read this one again to you, Gary, since it's to you. If the Pacers win, I will be calling the IRS to audit Gary. Count on that.
Okay.
I don't know why or how Gary's getting audited now. I guess there's some kind of betting, some reference to betting or something like that. I don't earlier. I don't know. I don't know.
Like
Gary,
I said, I can't.
I hope you have your receipts saved up.
I can't bet with the Pacers fans for numerous reasons. One, they wouldn't pay, and second, they don't have any money, so there's no way to bet.
There you have it, guys. But I guess hopefully Gary has his receipts saved up over the last 24 months or whatever it is. Mason's back in again. What is up, Mason? Welcome back into you. Thanks again for your continued support of us here. Gary, what's Mason have this time?
You have to say no Diddy after that Game 7 speech.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Again, you guys know the keywords of what to watch for. If the Pacers win and if the Thunder lose, you know what to look for when you come in here to Skap Live After Dark in the lounge. I will be heated. I will be hot. I will be dropping bombs left and right, and probably Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will be reaping the whirlwind of the majority of my rant if they do ultimately fall in that game. We've got another Will N. Will N's just peppering us with super chats. Thank you very much, Will. Gary, what's this latest one?
TJ is giving me the Iggy and the 2015 finals vibes.
Yeah, it's look, you need these you know, kind of, you know, understated kind of heroic efforts by these kind of underdog type players whenever if you are to beat, you know, a superior opponent. Obviously Iguodala, the 2015 finals, that's referencing the one when he was finals MVP against when they beat the Cavaliers in their first, the Golden State Warriors' first title that year. So, of course, Steph Curry was the league MVP that year. Andre Iguodala, the finals MVP. And that is now Will N is co-signing an earlier comment that we had in here that Pittsburgh's own TJ McConnell should get some serious consideration for finals MVP if the Indiana Pacers pull this off. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's anybody's award if the Pacers win it. Obviously, SGA is going to get it if the Thunder win. So, you know, we'll see. This is going to be an interesting game, and we'll see how competitive and how close that the Indiana Pacers can keep it and for how long. Oh boy, we've got my main man Marco from Serbia checking in. What's up, brother? Welcome into you. And I do see a Beverly Hills Cops reference here and Lester. Can't wait to see this comment from Marco here in Serbia. Gary, go ahead with it.
Beverly Hills Cop got to be Lester's favorite movie.
I think you're probably right. Again, it's one of my favorite movies. Beverly Hills Cops, love 1980s Eddie Murphy. And the, of course, actually, I think, is it Damon Wayans? I'm not sure. I don't think it's Damon. One of the Wayans brothers has a small cameo. He's working the buffet at the hotel that Axel is staying at. And Axel goes and gets some bananas from one of the Wayans brothers plays the cameo of the hotel worker, gives Axel a couple bananas. Then Axel orders like room service from the hotel to be delivered to Taggart's and Rosewood's car. So when he's distracting them with the buffet meal, Axel is slipping these bananas into their car's tailpipe as a way that Axel can slip the tail of them and get away and investigate Victor Maitland's warehouse, this prominent local art dealer in Los Angeles, who Axel believes is to blame for one of Axel's close friends. I think that his friend's name is Billy's death that we see in the opening scene of the film. But anyway, Axel is successful in slipping the tail by putting the bananas in the tailpipe. And then there is a banana disguise that is presented to Billy and Taggart later in the film. And the banana disguise is glasses with like a banana nose. So, and it is the banana disguise, So that is, I'm hoping that I can find a banana disguise to come on here and eat a banana for Leicester if the Indiana Pacers are successful. But I hope for those of you too young to understand the Beverly Hills Cops reference, again, that movie came out in 1984. So I'm sure many of you too young to remember it. Of course, I kind of am too young. I didn't see it when it came out. I'm too young for that, but it's still, I saw a movie at a very young age, and I've been a big fan of it ever since. And I will hopefully be able to find on Amazon Prime that can deliver me within the next 2 days a banana disguise like Billy and Taggart get gifted in Beverly Hills Cops. Great reference, Marco. And many thanks to you for being here all the way from Serbia, as usual. I love you. Next in is Betwixt again. I love these. Go ahead, Gary. Just go ahead and read this latest one from Betwixt.
Skap Attack, a.k.a. Cap Attack, a.k.a. Skap Bayless, a.k.a. Baby White Mamba, confirmed seething that Mike Tomlin now has a real quarterback for the first time in a decade. Washed up Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Betwixt coming at me now. Skap Attack, a.k.a. Cap Attack. I don't make any qualms about it. I'm from Pittsburgh, born and raised. Anyone who is born and raised in Pittsburgh, it is your birthright to love the Steelers. And so I did. I was a humongous Steelers fan for like the first 20 plus years of my life. They ran my life. I was depressed for like 2 weeks after they lost games in the playoffs. I typically would skip school for a whole week when I was in grade school, and even followed that up into college. I skipped full week of school, of classes, when my Pittsburgh Steelers were eliminated from the postseason. But I hate Mike Tomlin and I hate Ben Roethlisberger. Not a fan of either, never liked either. So I, throughout the years, have pulled away from my Steelers. Now, Roethlisberger's been gone for a couple years now, but that bum, underachieving, overrated pile of crap, Mike Tomlin, is still gallivanting around the Steel City, destroying my Steelers year in and year out. And I don't want to hear a damn thing about, oh, but he's never been under 500. He's always has a winning record. Yeah, except for when it really matters in the postseason, where he is now 2 games below 500 in his playoff career. And he has not won a playoff game now in roughly 8 years. We are on 8 years of not a single playoff win. There's just no way you can defend this guy still having a job. To me, it is a commentary by the organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers, that they don't care about winning. They don't. So why should I care about them winning? That's why I'm not a fan anymore of them. And I won't be as long as they employ Mike Tomlin, because they are making the commentary that they're okay with losing. They don't care about competing and about winning. So I'm not going to care about them winning either anymore. Though I must say, though, I have drunk the Kool-Aid on Aaron Rodgers. I do think Gary probably, he does not think. He thinks Aaron Rodgers is washed. I do like the signing. I don't think it's enough for them to win the AFC, but they might actually win a playoff game this year. I do believe. I like the signing. I think it's better than anything else they could have gotten. I think it's better than Rudolph would have been if they decided to go with him. So I do think that they will make some noise. I think they'll win 10, 11 games and maybe win a playoff game. But again, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about. The object isn't to win half of your games or to qualify for the playoffs or to win a single playoff game. It's to compete for and win NFL championships, otherwise known as the freaking Super Bowl. That's what we're in the business of doing in Pittsburgh. At least it always was before Mike Tomlin's tenure. Now it's just about winning half of your games, I guess. But we'll see, Betwixt. I'm not hard to find. You'll know where to locate me at the end of the season or throughout the season. We'll see what Mikey T and A-Raj and that pairing can live up to in the NFL this year. Got a tough schedule, so we'll see. They had a very, very easy schedule last year, so it's going to be a little more difficult this year. We've next got Betwixt is just in. He's coming at everybody. He's coming at me, a.k.a. Cap Attack. He's coming back. And Gary now, I'll read this one. It says, I would never pay Gary if he want to bet with me. Believe that, buddy. No chance. Well, Betwixt, that's why Gary's not betting with you. That's what he just said. You're just confirming his point. Gary said he's not betting any of you Pacer, bandwagoners, because he can't trust any of you to pay him. Yet you would all be knocking at his door for your payment if you would win. So you've just confirmed Gary's apprehensions and his fears about betting with you guys.
Exactly. Oh, if I thought a Pacers fan on here did want to legitimately bet me and they would pay, I'd do that in a heartbeat. But of course, none of them would.
There you have it. All right,
easy money.
I was going to say we're kind of catching up, but we're still very far behind on these super chats. We're now at 50 super chats at this point in an hour and 45 minutes. Many thanks to all of you guys out there. I've got my little buddy Luna sleeping ever so gently in my arms right now. She barely slept at all last night. She had a busy day with the groomer today, and now she's got her CBD, so she's exhausted. Thankfully, we have not had any more thunder since those couple little cracks, which is why I picked her up. So I just wanted to give you guys a Luna update. Next, I'm sorry, I skipped over one. We've got Orbital Hub in next.
Watch the language. Language, please. Orbital telling you and I, Skap, both of us, get ready to eat crow. Both you turkeys.
Orbital Hub. Listen, first of all, I won't really be eating any crow. I will.
Oh yeah, you'll be eating crow, Skap. That proclamation you made before this series started, you would definitely be eating some crow.
But here's the thing, Gary. Not only will I not be eating crow, not only will I not be saying like I was wrong, not only will I not be giving Indiana credit, I will just come on here and double down with my take that the Oklahoma City Thunder are the biggest bunch of rats in the history, maybe not of just NBA history, but sports history, if they somehow complete this epic choke job and lose a game 7 at home in a series they were up 3-2 in. That I'll just double down on that take, quite frankly. But I'm sure everybody else will come, could come on here and be piling on, and that's totally fine. I can handle it. Gary, I know you can too.
Yes, and we won't have to worry about it because the NBA is going to have Scott Foster call game 7 to make sure everything's fair.
That's also true. Shea, over under 25 free throw attempts for Shea by himself. If Scott Foster officiates the game, I'd say take the over on that one. We've got Lester's banana back in. Gary, I'll read this one again as it's to you.
No.
If Pacers win the chip, gaslight Gary's.
I'm not even making a joke about that. Like, I'm joking around with you Pacers fans. I'm having fun with you guys.
Okay, Lester, I have to edit that one. Lester's banana wants Gary to sit on a banana. I'll let you guys use your imagination to what exactly he wants Gary to do with that banana. But this is not OnlyFans, Lester. I'm not looking to get a lifetime ban on my Skap Attack channel. There will be none of that on the Skap Attack channel. Maybe we would have to light up for sure an OnlyFans page for that one. Xavier DeGod is in next. The first of what I'm sure will be many of these super chats to come from him. Go ahead and read Xavier's first one, Gary.
Is Haliburton the greatest pacer if he wins? No.
I don't think so. I mean, I can't go to that level. I still think Reggie Miller is the easy answer. That Reggie Miller is still, even if the Pacers win this one, that it's still going to be Reggie Miller. Look, I don't want to take anything away Haliburton. He's played a heroic couple games in my estimation, fighting through the calf injury, facing substantial career-threatening injury potentially by playing through it. And he's had a great playoff run, a bunch of crazy game winners. This is a guy who's averaging like 15 points per game right now. Like 15 points per game, 7 assists on like 45% shooting. I don't think he's even the finals MVP if they do win. So I just can't go to the level of saying he's better than Reggie Miller. I mean, Reggie Miller, who gave 18 years to that organization and played really was right there a couple times. Took Jordan to Game 7 in '98 and was in the NBA Finals. So look, he would have won in '98 had Michael Jordan, had the greatest player of all time, not been there in his last dance. The Pacers probably would have won the championship that year. And then, unfortunately, they get to the finals in 2000, and they are up against that juggernaut Kobe Shaq team in their first year, in the first year under Phil Jackson. Kobe wasn't quite Kobe yet, but he was kind of ascending to that. He would become that the next season. And Shaq obviously was league MVP, very dominant that year. So really just bad timing for Reggie Miller, I think, to not get a title running up against that Jordan team. And then the Kobe team 2 seasons later, Kobe Shaq team, I should say, 2 seasons later. So I still got Reggie Miller as the easy answer to that question. But I mean, Haliburton is probably like right up there below Reggie Miller at this point. I think there's no fault in saying that probably. Mike Ross back in again, man. Scott Foster is getting a lot of run on in this comment section. I'm sure he'll be getting a lot of run on the interwebs if he is officially announced as the game ref tomorrow at some point. I'm sure the internet is going to blow up with that news. Gary, what's Mike's Scott Foster take here?
Scott Foster, will he there for sure? He's the final boss of Game 7s and Chris Paul. Gary might just have a generational crash out if OKC loses. But here's the difference, Mike. I've been here after every game. Where are the Pacers fans when they lose? Game 2, Game 4, Game 5. Where were you? It hurts my feelings when you guys don't show up and have fun with me after every game. I miss you guys. I'm Skap, I'm already getting sad because I know that this is the last time I'm ever going to interact with Pacer Nation, because they're not going to show up after they lose Game 7. And when they just shrink away, wither away like a fart in the wind next season, then I'll never see them again. And I've made so many friends from Pacer Nation. I'm going to miss them all. But we know they're sore losers and they only appear when they win. They've got fool's gold because they don't realize Adam Silver and Scott Foster are actually trolling you. They're laughing behind the scenes. Look at these Pacers fans actually think they have a chance at winning. Now watch what happens the next game when they call the games fair and stop cheating for Indiana.
I don't know what's really going here or what's at play, but I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to come out with their A+ game in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I think they don't play with their A+ game or any close proximity of it otherwise. But I think the Pacers are going to get everything that they can handle and everything that they could want from the Thunder from opening tip on, I believe, in that game. So I'd say I think I did check the line. I don't think I said what it was. It's actually not that big. It's 7.5. So the Thunder are minus 7.5 at the open point for Game 7. We'll see if there's any kind of movement in there. But for right now, the line is under double digits by a good amount. But nonetheless, just even a 7.5 point line in a Game 7 is kind of a big line, I think. But one that obviously the Thunder, I think it makes sense in my estimation that it is that large. Next, we've got GGT999, and this is insane. Gary, go ahead and read it.
Jalen Williams went from dropping 40 to being negative 40.
Yeah, that's nuts. I did not mention it, but yes, that is true. I look at the plus minuses after every game. Jalen Williams tonight, it is insane. Minus 40. I mean, that is incredible. That is an incredible number. He played, I want to see how many 27 minutes. In only 27 minutes that he was on the floor tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder got outscored by 40 points. That's hard. That is hard to believe that he goes from 40 and being like the hero of the last game to being a negative. That's a crazy one. For sure. GGT999. Next in, now this one came in at 12:24. It's 109. I don't know if Cinder Block is still on, but I sure hope that Cinder Block is on still. Shout out to you, Cinder Block, a very big supporter of mine personally in my life. Gary, what does Cinderblock have for us here?
At this point, Choklahoma needs a safe word for the playoffs. Also, Luna needs some more airtime. Definitely the cutest member of the Skap army.
So Cinderblock is asking, now I can't even tell you how adorable this little girl is in my arms right now. She's unequivocally the cutest, I think, the cutest dog in probably in all of recorded time. I would say right now in present day, in the present day world that we live in. But I think I'm going to say from a historical standpoint that little Luna is the cutest dog that has ever walked the face of the earth. Now, Cinderblock is asking for more airtime. It's going to be so hard to pick this poor little girl up. She is just so utterly adorable right now. She's sleeping so gently, but Cinderblock asks, so I have to just pick her up and show her off one more time. Look at this little girl. Oh my goodness. I mean, come on, guys. I don't know how to do a chat or a vote or whatever it is on one of these things, but is this not the cutest little dog you have ever seen? You can't even see her little bandana, and her little eyes are drooping because she's so tired. I'm sorry, little girl. You go back down and go lay down and go back to sleep. Cinderblock wanted to say hi, and I generally try to do whatever Cinderblock asks or requests of me, though she would probably tell you that is not the case, and I don't listen to her enough. But Cinderblock, many thanks for coming on. And I do concur, definitely the cutest member of Skap's army. And I love you, Cinderblock. Hopefully you are sleeping at this point, because I think we might have some storms coming, which means little Luna will not be sleeping much after this live stream ends, if those storms do come in. Next in, we've got Xavier DeGod back in. What's up, Xavier? Okay, we've got a hypothetical thing from Xavier. What's the question, Gary?
Skap and Gary, make a starting five of today's players. Do you think Jokic would make your starting five of today's?
Okay, so like the best starting five, that's actually not that challenging of a question. I would go Jokic at 1 for sure. At 5. Everyone knows how I feel about Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think pretty much as highly of him as I do of Jokic. So I've definitely got Jokic and Giannis. Now see, this is interesting. He's not asking for the best 5, I guess. He's asking for make a starting 5. So I guess there is some consideration as to who do you want at 1, basically. So I think while Steph Curry isn't my best, he's not in my running, of my best 10 players right now. I think I would probably have Steph Curry on my 5 to go along with Giannis and Jokic. And you know what? I think I would probably round it out with Shea and Luka. So I would have Luka. I mean, think about the fun creativity going on with Luka and Jokic, and then probably Jokic would be the one, and then you would get Curry running around and getting wide open threes off that action, and then just the dominant athleticism and two-way play of SGA and Giannis. I think that would be my starting 5 today. So it would be Curry at 1, Shea at 2, Luka at 3, Giannis at 4, and Jokic at 5 would be it for me, Gary. What say you?
Well, I definitely wouldn't have Haliburton anywhere near my starting 5. That's for sure. But yeah, Jokic, I don't know. I'd have to look a little closer. Maybe Anthony Edwards, maybe even Durant. I like Steph and SGA. Does Giannis play power forward or center?
I mean, Giannis plays point guard, quite frankly, a lot of times. But Giannis, I think he can be whatever. Honestly, if you're playing,
so you can put him at 4.
He can play 5. He can play 4. He can play. He's designated primarily as a forward, so 3-4. But I think he plays mainly point guard though a lot of the times with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think he probably can upshift to 5, especially in today's day and age of positionlessness and smaller team basketball that he really can do anything. Unlike, how they used to say LeBron could do 1 through 5. Giannis really does do 1 through 5.
Well, I think I'd probably have Embiid at center, TJ McConnell as my point guard, and let me see.
Gary's trolling, guys. Gary's gaslighting.
And I don't know. I'll have to think about it. We'll go on to the next question, but definitely McConnell's going to be in there because he's the best player on the Pacers for sure.
Okay, next in is George The Truth Hurts is in, and another. I'll just read this one real quick. Another Scott Foster. There is just so many Scott Foster comments, and George The Truth is saying that if Scott Foster shows up, he's calling BS. So Gary, a lot of negative Scott Foster. I'd say generally probably the sentiment of the Skap live chat right now is echoed overall from that on the main, the mass amount of people on social media right now. I think it will be a pretty divisive decision by Adam Silver if he does in fact throw Scott Foster out for Game 7. But I think we all know it's coming. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. When I think it should be known tomorrow. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled and see exactly who those game officials are. My guess is Scott Foster is probably going to be the call, but we'll see.
Of course, they want a fair game.
We've next got Admon Vincent in. Gary, what's this one say?
Why is Chet playing like utter
ass? Yeah, Admon, first of all, thank you. You are obviously a regular here, and I do appreciate all of my regulars who continue to come on. Coming into tonight's game, and Chet did not play that well tonight either. 2 of 9 for tonight. Again. And only 4 points in 24 minutes. Play Isaiah Hartenstein more. What are you doing, Dagnall? Anyway, yes, not good from Chet tonight. And coming into tonight's game, Chet on the series, only 13 points per game. Now
he's been getting hacked, and the rest don't call it for him.
Now he is averaging nearly a double coming into tonight at least. 13 and 10, but only 37% shooting from the field for the series. That is utter ass from him. And tonight, just 2 of 9 for 4 points. So those numbers are all going to go down now after tonight stuff is factored in. I don't know, Amon. That's a terrific question. I don't think he's hurt. And quite frankly, I don't. The Pacers, it's not like they have a crazy defensive front they're throwing at him. I don't know why Chet Holmgren is playing like utter ass, but he certainly is. And if I were Mark Dagnall, I would consider benching Chet and playing, if he obviously wants to just play 4 littles and 1 big. So why not make the 1 big Isaiah Hartenstein, and bring Chet Holmgren off the bench? Like bring Chet and Caruso off the bench in a wave with each other and go with Hartenstein with heavier minutes to start. That's what I would do going into Game 7. I think that would be my strategy in the first quarter. Then kind of read and see how Chet is playing and go from there with it. But Admon, great question, and I wish I
think
had
they
the
should
answer.
just rest their starters. OKC should rest their starters for Game 7 to make it more interesting, make it more competitive.
I don't see that coming. Gaslighter Gary. Xavier DeGod is back in with looks like a challenging question for me to answer. Go ahead, Gary.
Scott, would you pick Kobe over MJ to start a franchise?
I would never pick anybody over Kobe, really, because I love Kobe. He's my favorite athlete of all time, one of my favorite human beings of all time. As you can see what's on the wall. I love Kobe Bryant. And I respect and think so much of him as a human, as a man, as a basketball player. His work ethic, his tenacity. There is something to be said about the fact that, I do think Kobe actually did probably put more into it than Jordan. I think as hard of a worker as Jordan was renowned to be, Jordan did take several gaps off in his playing tenure. And Kobe just seemed to be like an utter professional and just gave his every waking moment, it seemed like, to being the best basketball player he could be. With that said, there is only one GOAT. Kobe is number 2 on my list. The number 1 guy is Jordan. And Jordan, I think, he was more physically sustainable than Kobe. I think some of that is just like, I want to say because Kobe played so much, but Jordan played 80 games every year. Like Jordan played, other than he broke his foot early in his career, his second season, missed most of that season. But other than that, Jordan basically played 80, 82 games every year, and really was not ever significantly physically impacted. So I think just Jordan was more physically sturdy and resilient, I think, than Kobe. So the availability would be more. And then Jordan was just more physically dominant, I think. He was just bigger, stronger, faster than Kobe. I think I'd have to go with MJ on this question, Xavier. But thanks for making me strain on that one. Vacation Wealth Partners is back in. Welcome back in, Vacation Wealth Partners. Many thanks again for your continued support of us here and your generous donations. Gary, what's this next one from Vacation Wealth Partners say?
If Pacers win, Lester should get on the live stream to supervise and direct what happens next.
Again, Vacation Wealth Partners, if Lester came on the live stream would have to be on OnlyFans. It would not be able to be on the YouTube airwaves. So I would probably do my standard reaction live stream thing, which would go like probably 2.5 hours. We're over 2 hours already right now on this one. And then we could see maybe what appetite people have for the OnlyFans stream, and we can go from there. But yeah, Lester, I don't think he would be able to be involved in a YouTube. I would be banned if something like that happened. And I have a long, hopefully, and storied history coming in my future still on YouTube as Skap Attack. I don't want to put that in jeopardy with Lester's banana on here. Next in from Canada, the real Donald Trump donating us Canadian currency here. Welcome in the real Don. You've been on before, and I know that you are not in actuality the real Don, but welcome in to the real Donald Trump handle from Canada. Gary, another Scott Foster comment here from the real Donald Trump. What does this one say, Gary?
Scott Foster is winning the finals MVP, and SGA is overrated as a defender. TJ McConnell schools SGA. Well, he is Indiana's best player. So
I will say this. SGA, I think, is kind of reaching overrated status as a defender. All I hear about is how elite SGA is as a two-way player. He's never one time made an All-NBA defensive designation. He is substantially, to me, beneath defensively Lou Dort and Alex Caruso on his own team. And Jalen Williams was All-NBA defensive second team this year. So realistically, you can make the case that SGA is the 4th best perimeter defender on his own team, and yet he's routinely getting credited for being this elite two-way player. He's not asked to be a two-way player. He literally is just asked to score. That's it. That's his only responsibility on this team. So I'm actually with you, real Donald Trump, on this one. I'm buying what you're putting down on this. SGA defender overrated. I'll buy that. Xavier DeGod back in. Go ahead and read this latest one from Xavier for us, Gary.
Can someone take LaForty's cookies away so he'll leave?
Yeah, I wish. I wanted to do a video on it. I might still do something on it, but I feel, quite frankly, guys, I feel like there's some LeBron fatigue. I feel compelled to put the videos out because he's such an insufferable, narcissistic stooge that when I see these ridiculous comments and statements and things that he does, I just simply can't help myself. People in the comment section of these videos are like, Skap, give it a rest. Like, it's too much. Like, you're overdoing it with the LeBron stuff. So, like, I'm kind of taking like note from you guys and trying to avoid doing it. Like, it's hard though, because I see these absurd things that he's doing, like the ring culture bullshit on his latest podcast, where him and Steve Nash are talking about ring culture, and he's talking about how weird it is and how it's never enough no matter what you win. It's so insufferable. Bro, like, you went on you raised up out of the stage during a damn smoke show in Miami and sat down during a pyrotechnics concert and said that you were going to win 8 NBA championships before you won anything. You gagged all over yourself in the very next season. Then you slithered your way out of town with 2 championships when you said 8. And you still only have 4 freaking 20 years later. And it's weird that people are counting rings and talking about rings. Bro, you said you'd win 8 in Miami, and you still only have 3.5 in 21 years, and you're wondering about ring culture. It's just so distasteful that I can't help myself but comment on it, but I'm trying to corral myself a little bit. I'm trying not to overdo the LeBron videos, and I did just do one because Tom Brady hilariously was asked about his Mount Rushmore. He named like 8 or 9 names, and LeBron's name was not one of them. The first 2 names he mentioned was Jordan and Kobe, then Tiger Woods. So I did a video on that, and then the next day, after I did a video on that, the next day was this LeBron ring culture garbage. So I didn't want to do back-to-back of a guy that's been out of the playoffs for like a month plus, and we're in the midst of the NBA Finals and the draft. I'm trying to give him less time, at least on my channel, but I can't help myself. So I might at some point do some maybe I'll just store up a couple stupid things that he's done during the offseason and just do like a top 5 list of dumb things LeBron has done in the last couple weeks. And I will include that ring culture comment on it. But I'm with you, Xavier to God. I do too want LeBron to get the hell out of here. Please leave us all alone.
They're talking about trading Austin Reeves for a rim protector. Why don't you trade LeBron for a rim protector?
Yeah, I wish the new ownership group, which we didn't even mention this, I guess I'll give it a cursory mention here in passing. The LA Lakers, shockingly, I didn't even know they were up for sale. The Boston Celtics sold in March of this year. We knew they had been on sale for months. That ownership group, like immediately following the championship last year, the Boston Celtics essentially were put up for sale, and they were pending on sale on the market for months before they set the all-time North American record in March 2025. $6.1 billion they sold for valuation, did the Boston Celtics. That eclipsed the previous all-time record in North American sports history of the Washington Commanders, which sold for $6.05 billion. The Lakers, I didn't even know they were on the market, and they get sold yesterday at a $10 billion valuation. $10 billion. So the previous record, 6.1, shattered yesterday by Mark Walter. He's like some investment banker billionaire for TWG, who actually was a minority stakeholder in the Lakers already. And he also owns a segment of the Dodgers, as well as I think the Sparks maybe. And now he is the majority owner of the Lakers. So just to put that in passing, Jeannie, though, LeBron's bestie, Jeannie, will continue in her role as governor of the Lakers, apparently. So you can still, please don't think that the LeBron coddling and bootlicking is going to end anytime soon, as long as Jeannie is still in that role. So thank you, though, Xavier. I'm with you on your take on LeBron. Please just go away. Next thing, we've got Admon. I'll read this one, Gary, because he's throwing you under the bus here. Admon is back in at you. Welcome back in, Admon. And he says, Gary, that you are acting like a LeBron sniffer. What say you to that?
I'm not exactly sure how, but okay. All right.
The gaslighter is not taking your bait on that. We've next got Count Kilroy is in 3 consecutive times coming up here in these next couple. I'm seeing if there's any more. No, we've got Count Kilroy coming in for 3 consecutive super chats. Many thanks to you, Count Kilroy. Gary, let's start with this first one.
LeBron addressed critics about baglessness and ring cultures. PEDs next.
Count Kilroy, I just mentioned how I'm trying to pull off a little bit. I did do a video on his baglessness. I couldn't avoid that one. I should have done one on the ring culture too. I didn't do one on that one yet.
You still can.
I can still do that one. I might still.
I think you should. I
But
want
I
you to
did
cover.
do.
I want you to cover every LeBron topic, because the more videos you put out, the more they circulate to new people. Because I've seen young people watching your stuff. They live react to your videos, and they start learning. They're educating themselves, and they're like, "Whoa, wait a second! Jordan is way better than." I've watched a couple videos where guys are like, "Whoa, Jordan's way better than LeBron," and even saying, "Wow, I think Kobe's even better than LeBron." So keep putting your stuff out, because you cast a bigger net upon every upload.
Right. So I did do the bagless one, which is just ridiculous. He's got no bag. We know the dude's bag is so minuscule. It's almost microscopic, damn it. He's got like two moves. Jack a three-pointer or put his head down and bull his way into the basket and pray to God he gets underneath the rim and gets fouled or gets a layup. Those are his two and only signature moves. He's got no bag. So to your point, though, Count Kilroy, and this is a great point, he's addressing everything and he's talking about everything, and he has this platform, the Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash, and so there is nothing holding him back from addressing all of these things, yet he still continues to not mention the PEDs ever. So that the silence is deafening in this case, because other people are talking about it, not just me, but Chow Sonnen famously accused him of not only being on PEDs, but knowing exactly what PED he's on and knowing which person is providing him the PEDs. LeBron never responded to that, never threatened with a lawsuit, never demanded a retraction or an apology, never declined or denied it. And then Kevin Garnett also recently, about a year ago, came on his podcast and said, "Oh yeah, he's on that new juice. We all know that new Balco or whatever." Like a matter of factly, everybody knows it around league circles, essentially, that LeBron is on PEDs. Still nothing. The silence is deafening here from LeBron. So that's a great point, Count Kilroy. What is the next Count Kilroy comment here, Gary?
Went to the Palace this year. No Malice, just a 27-point triple-double from Jokic.
Yeah, that's not too unusual there, Count Kilroy. I think Jokic had roughly a triple-double every other game this year. I think he ended, I don't know, with like 30, 36 or 37, 35, 37 triple doubles, I think, this season. And he played, he missed 12 games, which means he played 70 games. So roughly every other game, 50% of the time this year, he had a triple double. So if you went to any game that the great Nikola Jokic played in this year, you had a 50% chance of seeing him drop a triple double. I'm glad you got to see one of those. And finally, last but not least, Count Kilroy's his third consecutive super chat to us. Thank you again, Count Kilroy. What's this one say?
This Rodgers signing is a game changer. I predict 9-8 and a wild card loss.
Yeah, that's a funny comment, because it's true. Probably the Steelers likely will win 9 or 10 games this year, and likely lose in the first round. But I said earlier, I think they might win a playoff game this year. I think that Rodgers might be able to get them over the top, but it just depends on where they end. Like if they have to play the Bills or the Ravens or the Chiefs in the first round, then obviously the Tomlin's losing streak, winless streak in the playoffs will continue to whatever, like a 9th consecutive year. Okay, next in we've got Stephanie is back in. Stephanie started us off. She's still here. This came in like a half an hour ago. Hopefully she's still in the lounge. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes in. It's 1:30 a.m. where I'm at. So hopefully Stephanie's in to hear the answer to this one. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your ongoing support of us. And Gary, what does Stephanie's next one say here?
Yeah, she's still in here. Skap, how did people view Kobe when he came into the league? Did people respect him right away, or did they thought of him negatively because of MJ? He wasn't even compared to MJ when he first came in the league.
Yeah, Kobe. So Kobe, Stephanie, great question. Kobe came into the NBA where when it wasn't, first of all, high schoolers cannot come into the NBA at the moment. I think that rule is going to be taken down at some point. And I think that we will see pros or we'll see high schoolers coming into the pros again, or eligible to come in again. Right now, there's a minimum age requirement that has been enacted mainly by the NBA, I think, to to help protect their product. Because what you had going on a couple years ago, before the rule was implemented, was a bunch of high caliber high school kids going eligible for the draft, and there's really no gauge of how to compare these kids against other high school players. So like there was a bunch of busts coming in and getting drafted relatively highly in the NBA draft. So basically, I think the NBA put in a 1-year minimum age requirement rule where you had to be 1 year removed from your graduating high school class, which would then force these players to go play a year in college, play a year overseas, play a year in the developmental league. Then these teams were able to gauge these talents against other requisite players, and they wouldn't be like drafting these busts. But, before that, for years, you could just come right in from high school, but it wasn't that common of a practice back in 1996 when Kobe Bryant did it. Of course, I think just the year before in 95, a high one of these high caliber blue chip high school recruits came out, and I think he was the number 1 overall pick. Kevin Garnett, I think, was the number 1 overall pick in the 95 draft. So it's not like it wasn't like unheard of that these players were coming in from high school, but it was still very rare still at that point in time, particularly for a guard. Kobe Bryant was a small, underdeveloped, because physically he just wasn't that developed at the time, guard when he came into the NBA. I think he was like 6'4", like 175 or something like that when he was drafted, I think, as the 13th overall pick in the NBA draft by the Charlotte Hornets in 96, and then traded promptly on draft night for the rights of Vlade Divac to the LA Lakers, where they were going to pair, because they didn't need Vlade Divac anymore because they had just signed Shaquille O'Neal a few weeks earlier in free agency away from Orlando. But nobody really gave Kobe Bryant a second thought, honestly, when he was drafted and came into the league, because he went to the Lakers. It had, again, Shaquille O'Neal, who was in his prime at that point, and 2 all-star guards in Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, 2 all-star guards already in the backcourt, in the crowded backcourt. So Kobe, I think he only scored about 7 points his rookie year. I think he jumped up to about 11, 12 points in his second year. And then in year 3 up to 19, I believe it was. And he was actually, people liked his flashy gameplay, because he was voted, he was selected as an all-star relatively early, I think in his second year, even though he really wasn't even a starter yet. And he participated in the dunk contest early on in his career as well. So I don't think people didn't really give Kobe much of a thought when he came in. Like, there weren't people early on weren't saying like, oh, this is the next Jordan, or, oh, his game style closely mimics Jordan. And then, of course, even when they won the first championship with Shaq, like, it was more, Kobe was seen more as a second fiddle. But then in that second title, that's when Kobe really, he was averaging like 30 points per game in that second finals run. He was arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA at the time. That really, his like 4th-ish year was when Kobe really came in. 4th, 5th year was like, so his 21-22 season was when he really came in to his own and started garnering some more of those Jordan kind of comps and comparisons. But, Kobe, I think, yes, for a long time was kind of viewed as like the heir apparent to Jordan when he got into his 4th, 5th, 6th year, obviously. Then when Shaq left, kind of inheriting the league. But I think, honestly, Kobe, really, I don't think he was ever viewed negatively by the majority of fans or his peers. I think the media is the one that turned on him for a variety of reasons. In probably his like mid-ish 20s, mid to late 20s, the media kind of turned on him, and they still kind of hate Kobe to this day. But great question, Stephanie. Will N is back in again. Go ahead with this another football question from Will N. Go ahead with this one.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers could be like Tom in Tampa Bay and Peyton in Denver?
I just don't, because I don't think they can win the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl in Denver as a shell of himself, honestly. actually benched in that season for multiple games, and then came in the playoffs and just kind of game managed his way. He had a really bad game in the Super Bowl. It was I forget who was it Von Miller who was the Super Bowl MVP, I think, of that
I think so.
that Denver Super Bowl.
Yeah, that defense won it. I think it was Von Miller.
Against Cam Newton and the Panthers that year.
Yeah.
They clamped down Cam Newton. It was a very low scoring game. But yeah, Peyton, at least he won the Super Bowl. And then Brady with Tampa was incredible in that postseason. When you look at the teams he played, he beat, I think in order, I think they beat Washington in the first round. So nothing crazy there. But then the Saints, so Drew Brees, then Rodgers, or the Packers, so Rodgers, then the Chiefs, so Patrick Mahomes. Brady beat in order 3 straight games as a 43-year-old in his first year with a new team that hadn't been in the playoffs in 10 years, beat Brees, Rodgers, and Mahomes in order, and had good statistical games in all of them. He had, I forget exactly what he did against the Saints, but he had 3 touchdown passes, I think, in the Green Bay game, and 3 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl against Mahomes, and was the Super Bowl MVP. So Brady was still prolific in that Super Bowl. And then he actually led the league the next year in his age 44 season, led the league in yards passing and touchdowns. He had like 5,300 yards and 44 touchdowns at 44. Unbelievable. I do not see that level of resurrection to Aaron Rodgers. Look, Rodgers was in a failing system last year. He was coming off of an Achilles rupture in his age 40 season. He had really no, kind of, I would say, connectivity with his number 1 wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. And now they brought Devontae in the second half of the season. But still, with all of the bad things going on in New York last year, Cat still passed for 4K and 28 touchdowns last year. So there's no doubt Rodgers still has a live arm. And I think he's going to deliver a level to the Pittsburgh Steelers that they haven't had in the passing game in like 7 or 8 years. So I think Rodgers will make Pittsburgh significantly better. And I think the Steelers will be better than they have been in recent years in the playoffs. And I think they'll be actually competitive and actually have a look at winning a game, maybe even 2 in the playoffs. But do I think they have the juice to go and beat the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bills in the playoffs? No. And it's not like they'd have to probably beat 2 of those 3 teams. So it's not even like, maybe they avoid everyone but one of them and they could sneak past. I just don't see a way that they can get into the Super Bowl. And even if they do, whatever comes out of the NFC, whether it's the Eagles again, or maybe the Lions finally get over the hump this time. I think the Lions have actually been the best team in the NFC for the last 2 years. They just haven't had the right things just really haven't gone their way, I think, in the play. They had so many injuries that they were dealing with. I'm sorry, San Francisco, I thought, was the best team 2 years ago, and the Lions were the best team in the NFL this year. I think, look, the Lions had like 26 players on season-ending IR at one point last year. So things just haven't lined up really for them. Maybe they get over the hump this time and get into the Super Bowl. Who knows? But whatever comes out of the NFC, I think, is going to be favored against whatever comes out of the AFC. So I don't even think the Steelers are good enough to get out of the AFC. And if they do, I think they'll lose to whatever they get from the NFC side. So no, I think Rodgers makes them better and more complete and more multi-dimensional than what they've been in basically 7 or 8 years, but not good enough to do what, probably the 2 greatest quarterbacks ever in Peyton and Brady did in the twilights of their careers on different teams. But great question. Vacation Wealth Partners back in again. Vacation Wealth Partners just making it rain here in the sponsor section of the lounge. Thank you so much, Vacation Wealth Partners. And what's this one say, Gary?
Skap, you mentioned your dad sometimes is on the live streams. What roles did your dad/family play in your sports fandom? And any chance we see him on live stream like Bill Simmons does with his dad?
I don't know if my dad, aka Bob, would want to come on a live stream. If he is not falling asleep, he's probably listening. Both my mom and dad listen to my live streams every night. I have to call my mom my dad texts a lot. So my parents are in their mid-70s. My dad texts a lot. I text with my dad frequently, multiple times a week, usually multiple times a day. But my mom has a flip phone still. She doesn't text at all, but I call her usually every day. And she wants me to call her before I come on the live stream. So she knows that she could go on and check for me to be on. So they're both basically listening every night if they don't fall asleep. They live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's 1:45 a.m. there right now. So whether they're awake and on, I do not know. But yes, my dad was a massive Pittsburgh Steelers fan, like a huge Steelers fan when I was younger. He had actually season tickets before I was born. So for a number of years he did. And he actually went to one of the Super Bowls. I want to say it was the Minnesota one. I might be getting that wrong. If he's on, he'll be pissed if I get that wrong. That would have been Super Bowl 9, and it was in New Orleans, I believe. It was when I think 16-6 was the final score of that one, when the Steelers beat the Purple People Eater Vikings. I'm pretty sure that's the one that he went to, but I might be wrong. It might have been the second one that he was at in Super Bowl 10. But yes, he obviously was a big factor and influence in me becoming a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan and just being a big football fan in general. He was a big football fan. He's a big baseball and football fan. He watches hockey too. So he watches the Penguins and the Pirates, even though the Pirates stink, as we all know. But yeah, he kind of watches all of those sports. He really didn't play that much of a factor in my basketball fandom at all. I don't really know how I became such a big basketball fan, because my dad, like all of Pittsburgh for the most part, hates the NBA. If you're in Pittsburgh, it's basically all about football, then kind of hockey, and maybe baseball on the out. Kind of like I'd say the Steelers usurp the primary amount. Then it would be the Penguins, or maybe even the Pittsburgh Panthers, quite frankly, the collegiate team there, collegiate football team there. And then maybe the Pirates, but nobody really likes basketball. I mean, we don't have an NBA team there. So that obviously plays a big factor. I just, for whatever reason, became captivated by the greatness of Michael Jordan at a very young age, like 12, 11 years old. I was just captivated by such greatness, even though I wasn't hugely into basketball at the time. Jordan made me a big NBA fan. And then right at the time, he was kind of, on the outs. He had just come back from his 2-year hiatus. Kobe gets drafted in, and I see him play. And I just thought Kobe, when I saw him playing at a very young stage at a high school level, I said, like, that looks like the way he moves, his game, his competitiveness, the swagger, like that reminds me of Jordan. Like, I think that will be Jordan. So then I made this deal with myself: wherever Kobe goes, that's my team for however long he plays on, and I'll follow him wherever he goes. And through 20 years, through thick and thin, good and bad, highs and lows, ups and downs, I was a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And actually, my mom became more of a basketball fan than my dad. My mom really got into the NBA in the early 2000s, kind of watching the Lakers just to gauge what kind of mood and mindset I was going to be in, for the week or for the next day. And then she became kind of a big Kobe fan as an offshoot of that. And I've mentioned it on here before. She loved Steve Nash too at that time. So she was a big Nash fan. And my mom and I actually went to see a number of Kobe games together. I lived in Philadelphia for a number of years. She would come, my dad and her would drive to Philly, and my mom and I would watch Kobe play. And then we saw Kobe play against LeBron in Cleveland. We saw Kobe in his third to last game ever. We saw him play the Hornets the Pelicans in New Orleans. We were like right behind the bench, basically. So that was really cool. And then obviously I saw Kobe's last game. I was in Staples Center for his last one, the 60-pointer. I wish my mom would have come with me on that one, but she doesn't fly. And that one was in Los Angeles. So that would have been a substantial road trip for her. But yeah, good question. Vacation Wealth Partners. Who knows if my parents have any interest in being on a line. I don't think my mom would. My dad probably would. And he is quite the character. I think Bob would certainly take off if he became a regular element on these live streams. So I don't know, maybe that's something I could set up one of these days. Next in is Michael De. How are we reading that, Gary? De Jesus, or are we going right with Jesus on that one?
Yeah. Jesus, I would think.
Okay. Either way, Michael, welcome in. Many thanks for being here. And another Tomlin question. I'm here for it. Go ahead, Gary.
Hey, Skap, regarding Tomlin, I think the Steelers are afraid to fire him due to the backlash they would receive from the media.
Yeah, Michael, I don't get into really racial elements of things or whatever. Like, I know there is like some kind of a commentary, a running commentary on this. I don't really I don't care what it is. Like, I don't see sports through that lens. Like, I look at your abilities, your production, what your achievements are or lack thereof. And not saying anything else about it either any which way. Mike Tomlin has underachieved in his job as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, which is it was arguably the greatest franchise in that sport's history when he took over the job. It still is a top 3 all-time historical franchise in that sport. And winning no playoff games in 8 years is just simply unacceptable. So I don't really make any other commentaries about it other than that. Like, it's not good enough. You failed. Like, and quite frankly, he should be fired. And Mike McCarthy, I challenge you guys to go look at Mike McCarthy's resume and look at what he did in Green Bay. He had a very similar resume to Mike Tomlin. Everything, the win-loss record, the amount of games he's won as a head coach, his playoff record, whatever, very, very similar. He's won 1 Super Bowl too. He's been fired from multiple jobs. So for whatever reason, Mike Tomlin has been protected on high. And I think it has more to say, honestly, about the Pittsburgh Steelers being complicit in losing than it does about anything else. I don't look at any of the secondary factors, whatever you might be referencing or alluding to. I look at primarily the fact that the Steelers organization are an inept franchise at this point. The leaders in the ownership box are a bunch of inept frauds that are, basically running this franchise into the ground like we've seen various other Nepo babies do throughout sports. Most prominently that I talk about in today's day and age is Josh Kroenke of the Denver Nuggets. But we see it. Look, the Buss family just sold yesterday. They've destroyed that franchise too once Dr. Jerry Buss ceded control over to those morons, around 2011, 2012. And now they reap the benefits, $10 billion sale from Dr. Jerry's purchase in 1979, $67.5 million. So to me, the Tomlin thing is more of a commentary on the Steelers being complicit with being losers. And that's why I'm not going to root for them until they stop deciding that they're okay being losers. And to me, that signal will be made when Mike Tomlin is no longer the coach there. Though in my estimation, Mike Tomlin will never be fired. When Mike Tomlin stops being a coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's because Mike Tomlin's decided that he has a better spot and he's going to leave them. And quite frankly, I don't know why he hasn't done it already. I said at the time when the when the Chargers job became available, and that job ultimately went to Harbaugh. And look, maybe ownership there wanted to go with Harbaugh, but I think if I were Mike Tomlin and I saw that job open up, I would start petitioning for it. I would make it known that I was interested in that, and I would have tried to jump ship from Pittsburgh to the Chargers. They've got a decent defense there. No skill position, but they have the franchise QB in my estimation in Herbert. So I would have tried my damnedest if I were Tomlin. Plus, you're leaving Pittsburgh to go to LA. Like, talk about an upgrade there. So I don't know why Tomlin still puts up with it, frankly. All the shit I talk on Tomlin, know this. While he is protected on high, Michael, by the mass media, the local sports media in Pittsburgh and the vast majority of the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base there are sick and tired with Mike Tomlin's shtick, his losing antics, his pontificating press conferences, his holier-than-thou kind of way that he carries himself. Sick and tired of it. And if I were Tomlin, look, I am anti-Tomlin, but if I were putting myself in his shoes, I would sit back and say, the hell with you guys. Like, you don't appreciate me. I'm Mike Tomlin. I never lose. I don't lose, 50% of my game. I win over half my games every single year. Look at the job I've done with the trash quarterbacks I've had for the last 6-7 years. Like, the hell with all you guys. I don't need you. I'll go move on to LA with Justin Herbert and show you guys all what I'm about. I don't know why he hasn't done that to this point. So it's equally shocking to me that not only have the Steelers not fired him, that he hasn't got fed up with all of the continual backlash by local fan and media. It's baffling to me, Michael, but I guess we're just going to sit and watch and see how it plays out. I think Mike Tomlin essentially at this point has to be viewed through the lens of like a Supreme Court justice. The guy is simply never going to leave until he's ready to retire as a coach in the NFL. Lester's banana back in. Oh my gosh, Lester's banana. It's getting R-rated here, bro. We need to censor this.
This was not too bad.
Another one. So Lester's banana. If Pacers win the chip, gaslighting Gary has to rub a banana with his feet. Incredible, Gary. Yeah. I don't know. I'm happy that Lester has moved on from things that I have to do to things that you have to do. I like that we can keep that. Lester, we'll see. Again, we'll see what kind of appetite people have for an OnlyFans follow-up after my YouTube stream on Sunday. We'll see what I can get done for you. Next in, we've got what is this? How would you read that handle?
Moten Viper or something?
Moten VIPR. I'm not quite sure how I should be saying that. But thank you very much for coming in here and for supporting the stream here. I do appreciate you, Moten or Moten VIP. VIPR. Gary, what does this one say?
Who has done worse, Jalen or Chet, for the entire series?
Well, Jalen's been fantastic, I thought, up until this game, but he wasn't even terrible in tonight's game. He's 6 of 13 tonight, 16 points. Now, minus 40 is unbelievable. I've never even heard of something like that. That is a terrible plus minus, and in only 27 minutes. But 16 points, 6 of 13 coming into tonight. Like I said, he was averaging 26 points per game, like 5 rebounds, 5 assists on like 44-ish% shooting from the field. So 26, 5, and 5 from your second option. Like that's pretty damn good, actually. Chet is definitely the answer on this one. We looked at the numbers earlier. He came into the night 12 and 10 on 37%, and tonight 4 points on 2 of 9. So Chet Holmgren is definitely the answer, Moten VIPR. And now Cinderblock, sorry, I should have went back to Cinderblock when I saw this is now 40 minutes ago. Oh my goodness, I'm so far. Actually, we're not that far behind. We are almost at the end of the super chat. So, but hopefully Cinderblock is still on to see this. If not, hopefully she can find it tomorrow morning sometime when she's, working so diligently and watching things on YouTube, kind of maybe hopefully she can find me as well. So Gary, go ahead and read this latest one from Cinderblock.
Banana stream loading, Skap in banana pajamas. Locked and loaded. Word is Mrs. Skap put a G on the Pacers and already secured the fit. I think she means fix. Pacers in 7. Let's freaking go.
No, I think she means the banana fit. The banana pajama fit is what she has already secured, I think.
She said put a G on the Pacers and already secured the fix. What would put a G on the Pacers have to do with fitting?
Right. No. Yeah, she's saying she bet a thou on the Pacers, and she also has my banana pajamas ready, which it would be Cinderblock that would be securing my banana pajama fit because she makes most of my orders. If it's not clear at this point, Cinderblock is Miss Skap that she references here. So I do not know if this K is right that she dropped the K on the Pacers behind my back. I don't know, but she may very well have the banana pajamas already ready to rock and roll. They might be a onesie. I'm not certain. Hopefully I'll have to have her look for my banana disguise tomorrow as well. Because it is now a distinct possibility. We are but one game away from it happening. So I better get my banana disguise for Lester's banana. Speaking of which, Lester's banana back in with another comment. Gary, go ahead and read Lester's bananas most recent.
If the Pacers win a championship trophy, Skap and Gaslight Gary recreate the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti scene using a banana.
Lester's banana is just cracking me up. These comments, I'll tell you what. Lester, unfortunately, Gary and I are, while we are actually in the same state, we are about 3-ish hours or more of a drive time away from each other. So I don't know. And Gary, again, for like the 10th time, does not eat bananas, but he will suck on a cucumber or something for you if the Pacers win. The
good thing is I'm not gonna have to worry about it.
He'll have like the 2 hard-boiled eggs and the cucumber in the aftermath, and I will be doing whatever with the banana, with my banana disguise on, hopefully, and the banana pajamas. But again, as Gary said, that's a big if. First, the Pacers need to cash this check that all of these comments of yours keep writing. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Mike Ross is in again for tonight. Mike, thanks again for your continued support. What's this one? What's this most recent one say, Gary?
Thoughts on Jeannie Buss finally selling the team to the Dodgers owner? Does this mean LeBum finally gone soon?
Yes, Mike, hopefully you heard me talk about this in detail a couple minutes, like a half an hour ago or so. I do think it's actually good for the Lakers. This guy, Mike Walter, comes with a lot of money. And I think the Lakers are going to be run like a real bona fide business now. And obviously we see what the Dodgers have been in recent years and how competitive they are in the championships that they win. So I think Lakers fans should be feeling positivity and optimism in the aftermath of this sale, because look, Jeannie Buss is an idiot. The entire Buss family, morons. So, I think it's only up from here. Although, like I mentioned, Jeannie Buss is still the governor of the Lakers, unfortunately. So, I think LeBron is going to finish his career as a Laker, in my estimation. He doesn't really care about winning championships. He thinks he's done enough. He's won enough. He doesn't care. So he's in the big market, the media mecca, the Los Angeles. He likes living there. He's got like a production company, whatever. He's now got a top 3 or 4 player league wide right now, and Luka Doncic on his team. He's going to stay there for whatever, another year or 2. I think that would be it. I think maybe 2 years at most will be what we see him play. But so that to me would not be soon. I think if he plays 2 more years, that ain't soon, Mike. I think the big talk this summer will be what could we put around Luka and LeBron. First and foremost, obviously, is going to be, I think, maybe more of like a distributing point guard. They don't really need a point guard. Luka plays point guard primarily. A big for sure, a rim protecting big, and someone to catch the lobs from Luka would be their first priority. After that, just to see how they could fill out the bench, I guess, and then see like what they do in this run. If they get close this upcoming season, I think LeBron comes back for 1 more year. But we'll see, Mike.
Does this owner draft Bryce? Because that's what LeBron's hoping for in a year from now. They draft Bryce.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. I'd say no. I'd say they're not going to be signing up for the circus of Bronny, Bryce, and LeBron. I don't think so. I don't think this guy, Walter, is here for that. So hopefully he puts his foot down. And finally, our 57th and final super chat of the evening. Shout out to my dad if he is watching on this 57th super chat. That's one of his favorite numbers. And 57 in from John Ratcliffe himself, Mr. Corrections Officer. John, what's up, brother? Hopefully that shoulder rehabilitation is going smoothly. Welcome back into you. Always a pleasure to have you on here. And like I said, last but certainly not least of the night, go ahead, Gary, with John's super chat here.
Had complications with surgery. I'm okay now. Please love me again. LOL. Missed you guys. How you been?
Wow. I mentioned John's shoulder surgery, and now he unfortunately mentions there's some complications. He got into an altercation. I believe there was an inmate was assaulting or attacking a female officer. John intervened. John, who is a big fellow, like 6'4", 300 with advanced grappling and fighting skills. He knows a couple different. I think I want to say jiu-jitsu is one of his disciplines. He knows a couple different disciplines. Anyway, I think he accrued a shoulder injury in the skirmish. He needed surgery, and now we're hearing there is some kind of complication. So I hate to hear that, John. Wishing you a speedy recovery, hopefully. I missed you too. I'm sure Gary did as well. Of course, John, I always love when you come in. So no reason. You don't need to ask for the love. You always get it here in the lounge, John. We love you. And we missed you too. Been well. We've been doing this crazy thing, which you were a part of on night one that we came on here. And I thought it was a big success on night one. And we've just kept it rolling now throughout the entire postseason. Really every night almost that there's a game. I think Gary, formerly Moderator Gary, who's now Gary the Gaslighter, we've been on here after virtually every night there's a game, and sometimes in between when there has been no game. The only night I think I missed that there was a game was when I went to see Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, because I am that big of a Tom Cruise super fan that I had to get out there and support Thomas Cruise May Pother IV, the legend. So that's pretty much the only night Gaslighter Gary and I missed. But other than that, we've just been on here grinding throughout these playoffs.
Well, I haven't been grinding. Maybe Lester's been grinding.
Yeah, but we've been on, anywhere between 2 to 3.5 or 4 hours some nights. This is looking, we're just getting ready to wrap it up and finish it up here, John, for the night, but about 3 hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes, 57 super chats from all of you generous folks out there tonight. I really appreciate all of you, and John, you as well. John, I will be looking to continue on the super chat thing moving forward. I've discussed this. I see another one in from John here, but let me just finish this point and then we'll get to that other one, John. I'm doing more super chats even when this playoff thing ends. Gary and I were just talking before this live stream started about doing something either during the draft or after the draft. So the 25th, we'll be doing something involving the draft. I will probably come on at some point whenever the imminent Kevin Durant deal gets done. So something I'll be on for that. And then after the season ends, I am looking to do some kind of a daily, maybe not a daily live show, but a semi-weekly live show. So like some fixed time of the day, which would be more of like the day, either the late morning or early afternoon, where I do like just a daily sports talk show for like an hour or an hour and a half, something like that. Maybe 2 to 3 times a week during the weekdays. So I'm toying with that and trying to figure out the exact format of what that would look like. But I will be continuing the lounge in some capacity because I've just loved connecting with all of you guys so much during these playoffs. It's been so fun to get on these live streams. And obviously I should have done it earlier and sooner. I should have been on before this year. Gary has been trying to get me to do these lives for like 2 years, and I had just not been doing them. So, and I of course loved them like from the first night I came on. So it's something I'm looking to keep going on. So definitely, John, we did miss you. We're glad to have you back. Hopefully that shoulder starts healing up, and let's see what John's hope. We'll see final comment maybe of the night, the now 58th super chat of the night from John. Gary, what's this one say?
I want my home state team to win for the sole fact we Hoosiers haven't had success in sports since 2006. Yeah, it's true.
So, yep, John is like most native Indianans or whatever they call themselves. They're Hoosiers, I guess, probably rooting to see the long championship drought come to an end. It's been nearly 20 years since they've won anything. So, we'll see. I think I am rooting for Indiana as well, even though it will be, negating, delegitimizing my preseason pick of the Oklahoma City Thunder when I picked them resoundingly to win it all in like back in August or September. At this point, I am so annoyed with their just minuscule play, the minuscule character that they show up with night in and night out throughout large stretches of this postseason run. I am on the Indiana Pacers bandwagon, even though I'm going to get avalanched on by all of you haters and naysayers and trolls. If it happens, I'm rooting for it. I'd love to see it. I just don't think it will, but I'm with you, John, and I'm with all of you Pacer fans or Thunder haters. You can count me on as one of these Thunder haters at this point. So let's go Pacers on Sunday, and I'll see you guys on regardless, win or lose, Thunder or Pacers, whatever way it goes. Of course, Gaslighter Gary and I will be on. I will be probably talking shit on the Thunder if they win or lose, more than likely, and Gary will be gaslighting all of you. And before we slide out of the lounge, we got yet another super chat in. Will N, who's done numerous amounts of sponsorships of us tonight. So thank you, Will N, so much. And we have a Xavier to God like Will N question here, a hypothetical. Let's see what this one is, Gary. Go ahead.
Another 3-on-3. Jerry, Wilt, and Elgin versus Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy.
Ooh. See, this is an interesting one because Elgin Baylor, who I love Elgin Baylor, he's an all-time great, very underrated in the 50s and 60s. One of the great scorers in NBA history. He actually was not on the team. So he was on the team with Jerry West that lost like 8 or 9 finals throughout the 60s. And then they brought in Will Chamberlain finally, and they won the championship in 72, one of the greatest teams ever assembled. They won, at the time, then NBA record, 69 wins. That total held as the all-time record until 95-96, when the Bulls won 72. And that team in 72, that Lakers team, still holds the all-time record for most wins consecutively in a season, 33 straight. They are like 2 or 3 all-time in net differential that I talk about all the time. That team did not have Elgin Baylor. That was just Jerry West, Will Chamberlain, and actually Gail Goodrich was like a really great player on that team. No Elgin Baylor. So I don't know, are we like taking prime Elgin, Wilt, and West? If we're taking these players at their prime, this is tough because Magic and Kareem are 2 top like 6 or 7 all-time players, but still, if we're taking Elgin, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain at their primes, Magic, Kareem, and Worthy at their primes, and this is a tough call, but I'm taking Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and Elgin Baylor. That is a tough call, though, and that is a pretty good question, Will. And Xavier to God is likely smiling fondly at this question. Gary, do you have anything to throw in about this 3-on-3 matchup? I know you're high on Wilt, so.
Yeah, I just don't know enough about Jerry West, Wilt, and Elgin, really. The bad thing is there's not enough footage for us to really study. This era can at least go back and watch a lot of 90s footage and see Jordan and guys in that era play, whereas you and I can't really go back and look at a lot of there's a little bit of footage, but not much. So I really can't gauge objectively.
So I'll say this. Elgin Baylor, again, I talk about him a lot. He's one of those guys that like he played in the Wilt era of like the 60s where like a lot of what Elgin Baylor achieved is discredited because of the era. Like they kind of discredit his stats. He put up crazy numbers. Like there were years he scored like 36. He had like 36 points per game, 17 rebounds, 5 assists some years. Like he has one of the highest scoring games in playoff history. Him and Jordan are the only 2 players, I think, in NBA history to have a 60-piece in the postseason. Elgin Baylor is a really, really underrated and underappreciated player in Baylor. Of course, we know Will Chamberlain, like a force, like the most dominant individual statistical force ever offensively, one of the greatest defensive players ever too. And Jerry West, not only is he the logo, Gary, not only is his nickname Mr. Clutch. There are 3 human beings in NBA, in recorded professional basketball history, that have led the NBA in scoring in a season and made a first-team All-NBA defensive selection that same season. Those three players, we know who two are: Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Kobe Bean Bryant, and then the third one is Jerry West. So that's really all you need. Those three cats in their primes, I'm taking them over the pairing of Magic, Kareem, and Worthy. But it is a close call. Great question. And again, like I said, Xavier DeGaude's probably smiling at that one, guys. But that is going to be it for tonight. 59 super chats in from you guys, keeping us on late as always. It seems like on here. We're just about ready to click over to the 3-hour mark. This comes, of course, on the heels of Game 6 of the NBA Finals, where the Pacers dismantled the Oklahoma City Thunder in a game that really wasn't as close as the final score would indicate. It was a 108-91 final, but that was a 90-60 spread at the end of the third quarter. So the Pacers were up by 22 at half. They were up by 30 at the end of the third. Just that game was never in doubt, basically, from like the midpoint of the second quarter on. Congratulations to the Indiana Pacers for being just willing participants in what the Oklahoma City Thunder continue to do in marching towards what would be an absolutely historical and breathtaking choke job. So, we'll see if they can avoid that dubious and nefarious designation on Sunday when they play. I believe 8:30 is the tip-off. They are 7.5-point favorites at this time. It's 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock tip-off. So that means the game should be over around 10:30-ish on Sunday, 10:30, 10:45, which is when you can anticipate myself, Skap, coming in, sliding into the lounge for an after-dark session, along with Gary the Gaslighter, formerly known as Moderator Gary.
But unfortunately, there won't be any Pacers fans here.
Right.
It's really sad because I'm never going to see my Pacers friends again.
So we'll see. We'll see what comes to fruition. But we will see, because that is the great thing about sports, guys. We can talk about it. You can hear all of the different pundits and various talking heads speculating, pontificating. But ultimately, as is always the case in sports, we will see, because the ball will be tipped up and we'll play in 48 minutes, and we will know who will be hoisting the Larry O.B.
Hey, Scott, can you confirm something for me? Titan Moss says Gary's going to go into hiding if the Pacers win. Scott, how many times have I went into hiding throughout this playoffs? Exactly how many times?
Yes, I can confirm that Gary the Gaslighter will unequivocally be on here, win or lose for the Pacers, the Thunder, whichever way it goes.
How many times have I went into hiding? Exactly.
That would be none.
Okay, and how many times have the Pacers fans been hiding when they lost game 2, 4, and 5? Were the Pacers fans flooding here after those games? Can you confirm yay or nay?
That would be a nay.
Okay. So actually the Pacers fans, and just for the record, I just wanted to say before we get off it, I have really grown to become a huge Tyrese Haliburton fan. Seriously, I think he's so good. So hopefully he can leave Indiana so he'll have a real chance to get a championship.
Gaslighter Gary, sticking it to you guys, you Pacers fans. So hopefully you guys will be out. Lester's Banana closes us on the live stream. Gaslighting again, LOL. Yeah, hopefully you guys come out win or lose, because it has just been a fun playoff run with all of you guys. And no matter what, we know that it comes to an end. The postseason does. Like I said, we'll be on for the draft, and then we'll be carrying on in some capacity moving forward. Not sure what that will look like yet, or when exactly that will be implemented. But the postseason iteration of the lounge will be done no matter what obviously happens on Sunday. So hopefully win or lose, you guys are here as well. And we can all just have a good, fun conversation for one more time before the 2025 season, at least playing season, is officially put to an end. So we will see, Gary and I will see you regardless on Sunday. Hopefully you will all be here as well, regardless.
I would love to see if some of you Pacers fans will come out of your barns after Sunday night's game. I would love that.
We will see. Only time will tell, and only time will tell what happens in that game. We will know in about 2 days' time. Until then, guys, as always, please do make sure you click that subscribe button for me. Go find Gary 828 Sports channel. Help him get to 1,000. Click the subscribe button for him as well. Hit those notifications to stay up to date with me. But guys, until next time, hopefully all of you have a great couple days, a great Friday and a great Saturday. Hell, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday.